Oh, it's hello, Titan. It didn't start early. There's a misunderstanding because it was supposed to start at 10 p.m. Polish time, and I set it for. I'm talking to Titan Uranus.
Yes.
It did kind of start at 10 p.m. Polish time, but I am in Ukraine now, so YouTube did not get the memo that I went to Ukraine. The YouTube still thinks that it's Polish time, so the timer was for 10 p.m. and it continued being for 10 p.m. even though I went to Ukraine, which I would think that the super smart AI of YouTube would figure out that I crossed the time zone 1 hour and would adjust, but it did not, which is weird. Don't you think? Oh, yeah. I think it's strange.
There's so much crazier stuff going on. As
Well, David won't know who I am with that pronunciation. Yeah, I tighten your anus.
Yeah.
But I pronounce it as Titan Uranus, you know?
Fine, but I knew exactly, yeah. Same emphasis on the wrong syllable, that sort of thing.
Listen, I just pronounce it. To be fair, everybody has been pronouncing Lance's surname incorrectly. If anything, it should be Gregorchuk.
Oh, of course.
You know?
Yes, it is a Ukrainian name.
Yeah, it has to be Gregorchuk. As a Slavic person, years later, I have to come here and correct the record on the surname of Lance, the bizarre man that started the whole thing. God.
Yes.
Everything is...
Gregorchuk.
Yeah, Gregor. I was like, wait, what? Gregorchuk? Chuck Norris? No, it's Gregorchuk.
Very good.
Yes. Okay, now people are kind of gathering, so I guess we can begin. I wanted to talk to you because I've actually been here when the whole wild saga of Lawrence Krauss was a thing. I was there when Lawrence Krauss had his accusations. I followed the debates. I followed all the talks and conversations with religious people. The debates, you know. Remember those days? And
those halcyon days of debunking simple arguments. Yeah.
I have clipping turned off. I don't have clipping turned off. I don't know how to turn it off or on. I'm sorry, I spoke to the audience again. And I think I might even be vaguely familiar with the whole thing. I might have seen the clip of Come On Bro back in the days years ago, but I have forgotten it. And now I have watched an entire, well, not the entire thing. I haven't made it to watch the entire thing. I watched a few videos past the John interview when he just went insane on the person interviewing him, talking about how he...
Navadia? Yeah.
Yeah. When he went all just where do we begin with this? Let's begin with your interview. Let's begin of what are your thoughts of the whole thing now that Lawrence Krauss has prominently appeared in the Epstein files. I'm gonna read the name as Epstein because I'm doing the Polish Jewish person pronunciation of the name.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of pronouncing things properly. So I still don't know all of the details as to what it says in the files about Krauss. However, I'm not remotely surprised, and it's extraordinary how close we had a sort of run-in with maybe not him, but the people around him. And for those who are completely out of the loop, and why wouldn't you be? I am Dave. I interviewed a bloke called Lance. I had a podcast, and I was trying to interview lots of different secular, humanist, atheist types.
Oh, sorry to interrupt. Do you still do any interviewing at all?
No, not at the minute. I did. I stopped the DRP a long time ago, and then I briefly restarted on a board game podcast, and then realized that it's not really feasible to make it because the shipping costs more than the game, and so you can't realistically ask people for.
Yeah. Did you know that Warhammer started as a board game?
No, but I wouldn't surprise me. I mean, isn't it a board? Is it?
It was a
So you've
board game with a castle and some miniature, and that kind of turned into Warhammer. The fantasy battle figurine game.
Right. Yeah. I've got a friend who sort of paints the little figurines, and
Yeah.
they spend forever doing it.
Yeah, and then it had the Warhammer
use it all
Fantasy
as-
roleplay, the tabletop roleplay game. But that's different than Games Workshop.
Yeah. Regardless, that wasn't feasible. So I tried to interview people just to try and humanize them more than anything, because there seemed to be a lot of this is sort of circa 2019.
Yeah.
There was a lot of people around that were still in a sort of slightly angsty atheist phase, and I'm just
Right.
not that. I wasn't raised in a religion, and I never left one, so I just viewed various different acts as just a bit silly.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, my apologies. I have to plug the computer to the battery source.
Yeah.
I'm really sorry about this. This is a little bit of a mess because we have to blame Vladimir Putin for this.
Oh, good. I will wait.
I think we are back. You were saying that you were humanizing people, which I will say that the particular guest that we'll be discussing in a moment did his best to undermine your work in humanizing your guest.
Yeah, and I guess that is one of the key points that I would try and get across, is that we all have the capacity to do good and bad things.
Yeah, regardless of whether or not, yeah.
Yeah. And so it's a lot of what I do working in schools as well. I'm about to start a new job where I'm going to be looking after kids that have been basically taken out of the mainstream schooling because of their behaviour, their circumstances, stuff going on at home, all sorts. And that means that you've got to have a lot of empathy for people who are trying to, in some cases, you're going to have to start sort of pin them down. Apparently, that's what I've been told by the
children with special needs.
Some of them, but some of it's like behavioural, some of it's circumstantial. And
there's their connotations, but it kind of also means that they need special care, right?
Yeah,
like special accommodation, at least educational.
Working the mainstream, you've got maybe a class of 30, and that one kid needs the teaching assistant, and then you're left alone with 29. Whereas in this school, it will be a 1-to-1 ratio across the entire school, meaning there's about 60 kids and about 70 staff. So it's a lot.
Does some of it entail private one-on-one lesson, maybe at the home, at the house of the child?
No, but there is a residential option for some of them as well, and they have a problem with funding. Regardless. So that is
this interests me because some of all of my work in Ukraine revolves around children, around how the children suffer in this war, the kidnapped children rescued from the occupied territory, and the children that live here. And one of the topics that I've been tackling is the educational gap that the children suffer from because their schools have been bombed, because the schools have been closed. They cannot go. They only study online. They don't meet their peers. They don't have really socialization. Right. So there are NGOs that have to take it upon themselves to organize meetings, organize not even lessons, but just little meetings when the children can be together, draw stuff, talk, and learn basic communication with their peers.
Yeah, we saw this during the pandemic as well when we came back.
Yeah, that's the problem. That problem's problems kind of exasperated here because children had online learning during the pandemic, and then almost immediately the war started. So there are actual children in here that have never actually experienced classroom education ever, which is very wild to think about.
It is. Trying to sort of veer this back to Lance, I guess.
Yeah.
The environment. No, all good, because it's relevant. I firmly believe the environment we are in determines how we act. right? If you are surrounded by people who are all being sexist, then you would be sexist. If you
Yeah.
were surrounded by people using various sort of offensive words for various racial minorities, you will start using words similar, and that will be normalized. And there are certain adults that just haven't received any pushback whatsoever
And they think it's
on
normal.
their behavior.
That was very, very clear when it came to Lance. We should probably start with introducing to people who those people are, who Lawrence Krauss is, who Lance is, and then John. Maybe you could give us a rundown on who the actors of this whole.
All the characters.
Yeah,
in our
I don't
play.
think we have to explain Epstein, but
Yeah, sure. So, Lawrence Krauss is a physicist.
oh, you've been asked by the person from the audience is if you're a special education teacher.
So I do physical education, and I just happen to be doing it in that school. So sort of yes.
Right, because I actually have an audience member from Florida. Yeah, it's Florida, and their mother is a special education teacher.
Okay. Yeah, there will be a lot of ADHD, autism, and there's some that people aren't quite aware of as well, and I'm still sort of learning about, such as like I think there's another one which is like defiance. So they just, for whatever reason, they're trying to reclaim or autonomy and ownership over their circumstances, and so they basically just say no to you a lot, and that is, understandable.
Yeah,
I would be in the same situation.
a lot of
as them.
patience is required with children.
Yeah, and it's apparently incredibly rewarding to be in those environments. But I'm also apprehensive of the fact that I might have to at some point, particularly next Wednesday, they're doing a training day as to like how to safely and legally pin children down if they're being,
Right,
there was one
physically
story,
disruptive, right?
yeah, I mean, I really should emphasize as well, to the point where I was told when I met them last week, there was a story where there's like a caretaker or somebody was being stabbed with a butter knife, and it's that level of behavior. It's not because they shouted out over a teacher or something. It is genuinely dangerous behavior that needs to be addressed. So, sorry, yes, the characters. So Krauss is a world-renowned physicist, and but Dawkins as well. Richard Dawkins is an evolutionary biologist.
Yeah, people in my audience are more familiar with Richard Dawkins because of his violent transphobia as of late.
I'm not on social media now, which makes me so much healthier. So I'm unaware of what has more recently been said. But yeah, I find that those sorts of people understandably trying to find funding for science, and then they get embroiled in various different financiers, such as how did you pronounce it?
Epstein. Yeah, I mean, you kind of I mean, I had this perfect example. You say Einstein, right?
So Albert Einstein.
Yeah, you don't say Einstein, right?
No.
Yeah, exactly. So why Epstein when you don't say Einstein, right?
I guess there's a degree to which we wish to differentiate the two.
I mean, that's fair. It's fair to want to separate the two, considering that one was a brilliant physicist who, as far as we know, did not have any allegations of sexual assault like Krauss.
But albeit did play some part in the atom bomb. Which is arguably worse in some respects. But
I don't think that was his intent, though, to create a nuclear bomb. I think. Oh, my viewer said she's about their mom. She's kind of multi-qualified. She's taught behaviorally concerned classes, special education, remedial, and general education. Right now, she's teaching mathematics.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. Very good. Yeah. I should say as well, there is a dog yapping that occasionally wants to run into the garden for 10 seconds and then come back. So they're not being tortured. I'm not on an island right now.
You're not in England?
I'm not on an island. That was an Epstein joke.
Oh, but you are on an island. You're in England, right?
Well, yeah, I suppose. Yeah, most people are, I suppose. Anyway, sorry. We're going to stay on topic. I used to do this all the time, and we always used to go off.
It's okay. I've got the ADHD as well, which is like the Polish way to read ADHD. So that's why I kind of jump around.
I think over time I have become better at focusing on the point. I don't, but I completely resonate with
but
that.
All of these topics are very interesting, so I kind of want to get to them a little bit. Yes. I'm better when I interview the families, because that's also what I do in Ukraine. I interview the families about the war. Usually I have a set of questions that I go through.
Yeah, I'm far more comfortable sort of improvising, spitballing, whatever you want to call it,
and then true nature of people comes out, as we'll get to in a moment.
Exactly, and that is exactly the point of the podcast, was to show people that humanized side of them. So it was never meant to be formulaic.
Seems like it backfired a bit, in one instance.
Yeah. Well, so there was these two scientists, and they get invited to conferences all the time.
Yeah.
And I'd never interviewed sort of conference organizers before, and I thought, oh, that's an interesting conversation to have. So I found that this guy Lance was doing PR for his event, and he was going to have Dawkins there and Krauss there, and that was a really interesting event, including Alex O'Connor, who I'd interviewed at the time, possibly twice at the time, and that also meant that there was quite a few people from my audience that might actually want to go to this event that was only down the road from me. And by that down the road, I mean by like American standards. I was like an hour and a half drive away. That's not down the road for the UK. That's an entire country. That's like the length of Wales. But so yeah, they were promoting their event. I had them on. We did a podcast, and for about an hour, he was particularly sort of sycophantic. And he seemed to be, I didn't pick it up on at the time, but people said he was maybe drunk, under the influence. And then he didn't realize that we weren't live.
Yeah, I've seen that. He asked you at some point, are we still live? Are we doing this offline? And I found it very strange. We'll probably get into it, that the conversation had few phases. One, when he praised you all the time and said your questions were amazing, were brilliant, you're so authentic. But then suddenly your questions became bad and not difficult enough.
Yeah. So the main crux of the interview went sour when he said I wasn't asking tough enough questions, because he was saying, oh, you could have in your own booth at the conference. Hey, you could be on stage with Dawkins asking him the real questions, like, are you an atheist? Like, it was just dumb. But he then started to, I thought it was for about 5 minutes in total. You could sort of timestamp it, and it's just him sort of berating me. And so I was like, okay, I know I'm limited in words. I'm going to have to be articulate here.
And so also to add, he actually said earlier, when he was still praising you, that you asked a very difficult question.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I've not bothered to watch the first bit back.
Yeah, he was like, that is a profoundly difficult question. I think some of the people that reacted to it also noted that he was like, yeah, it's a profoundly difficult question that you've asked me. And later he was like, yeah, you're not asking me any difficult questions here. What's happening? What's up?
Yeah, so for those who aren't fully clued up on this situation that went down, he was basically trying to manipulate me in this interview, right, promoting his event. And he said I wasn't asking tough questions. So then I asked, is it right to platform Lawrence Krauss, given the sexual assault allegations against him?
Also, if I may,
from Christina
I find it very weird, actually. I find it, I don't know, we're going to get into it with John as well, but I feel like it's human interaction, kind of very strangely 101, very basic stuff. Like, why would you even try to manipulate the person that's interviewing you? Just promote your event. Just don't do any of these things. Just say, yeah, the event is this. It's going to be great. Please come. And why do all the manipulation? What is the goal of doing the whole manipulation thing? I find it. I'm struggling to see the benefit, to be honest. You know?
Right. Yeah. And so I hit him with this reasonably. It's not even a difficult question. It's just reasonable. It's reasonable
it's like there's a person that has several allegations against them. They're gonna come to your event. Why? You know?
Yeah.
Why?
So what are the safeguards? What are the guardrails that you've put in place for this person? Because innocence until proven guilty. But
Right. Yeah.
now in hindsight, we also know that he's in the Epstein files, and there's a degree of credibility to these claims anyway.
Yeah.
So his reaction went viral because for the next 10 minutes he's defending sexual assault as a concept. And
which when I watched it, I was like, wow. Because he basically said
the worst answer he could have gave.
I don't know if we shouldn't actually play the clip of him saying those things to the audience now, because people here don't know.
Yeah. I'm not going to copyright strike you, don't worry.
Do you maybe have the exact clip on hand where he starts saying, "Come on, bro, absolutely." The fact that the answer to the question should you invite that guy was unresounding absolutely. That just kind of
what's so bizarre. I do have it to hand. But
could you send it to me? I could play it.
To you. Yeah.
I'll share it as well with you on. Sorry?
I'm so glad I made a playlist of this, the story of Dave Con, because this is still up. This whole playlist, everything.
It's just it's a ride. It's
I mean, even those who've seen it before, it's still fun.
It's just bizarre. It's the fact that it's like some kind of a sketch. Actually, it feels like a sketch watching it.
That should be just a clip.
You know the page called The Onion?
Yeah.
It feels like an onion thing for a person to, like, you expect a serious interview and you ask, is it okay to invite this person given their allegations, etc.? And the answer is, absolutely, bro, come on. You did it, I did it, everyone did it. Yeah, everyone does it. It's just that this guy happens to be famous, and you know.
Yeah, that is his exact argument. So
hold on, I'm gonna put it on stream browser. Here you go. It's here. And now I have to share it so you can see it without the. Do you see the stream that I've set up on Discord?
I can see it. And just a quick shout out to my intro here. I made this in Unreal Engine 4. It's probably one of the greatest things I've ever done. It's
nice.
It's not even that great, but it's just like.
It's also bizarre because I've actually been. I think I've taken it for granted because I've actually been praised for my interviewing by the organizations that work with children in Ukraine, you know? I've been told by the press representative that when I talk to the children, I ask children that are sort of to the point, but I don't get intrusive or strange, you know?
Right.
But
it's a fine line.
I kind of took it.
But you also.
I kind of took it for granted, but then I saw Lance and John, and I was like, oh my God, people can be so bizarre when it comes to basic human interaction, you know?
Yeah.
It can be so strange.
I can never, on a side note, I can never keep that many tabs open either. I'd get like
I feel like I have to keep them because I feel like I'm gonna read this later. So I'm gonna keep this, I'm gonna read this later, and then I kind of, you know. Okay, let's see. My goodness, people are waiting to see because it all is kind of abstract for now. Oh yeah, sorry. I'm gonna make Titan Uranus a mod. There you go. Titan is now a mod on this new channel. The video isn't adjusted to the stream window. Oh, I apologize. See, I'm having technical issues. I'm a leftist streamer, you know? I'm a left-wing streamer.
Why I've done the 100-ish podcasts so far, it's because I want to.
We've done 100 podcasts, well over 100 probably, right? At this point.
Yeah. So this is the 96th, and it went to 160.
Oh, why did you stop?
I think it was just the right time to stop. It was during the pandemic, and I think there was a variety of reasons. When you just have a gut feeling, because the very last podcast I did was with a tech, like a crypto billionaire, and I was like,
oh, you did a billionaire.
It's gonna get much better. Yeah. So he's interesting. I'm still sort of trying to keep up with what he's doing, and he's infinitely fascinating as to what he's trying to achieve, because he's quite significantly, on one hand, he did support Trump, and then on the other hand, he has now come back and said, look, Trump screwed us over. And then, in hindsight, it's like,
when did you support Trump? In 2016, right?
No, that would have been for this election.
Oh God.
Because from a crypto perspective,
I've heard the first one,
like Harris and Trump. But I mean, that was
the "I'll end the war in 24 hours" Trump.
Yeah, but hey, he wanted certain crypto regulations over the line, and that's.
I'm not a big fan of crypto.
Yeah, this is industry, so you can see how he would be sort of.
Yeah.
Interested in that. Anyway, so that.
Okay, let's play our favorite.
Why I've done the 100-ish podcast so far, it's because I want to promote critical thinking. It's because I want to engage in making myself more rational, more reasonable, and as such, I need to bring in expertise from other people.
Shout
out to the vinyl in the background. I love that. It's just down here, but it's,
Yeah. There's this misconception that people have that rational atheist equals that the person is going to be not Lance,
And yeah, that's a key lesson, is that out of all the people who I interviewed, there are people who have swung from belief to non-belief, and they haven't become any more.
And also,
they've just gone from.
Yeah, some people just basically replace one religion with another. I feel like,
right, yeah. and I can understand why. They get shunned from one group and they get love bombed by another, and it's like, again, talking about environments that we're in. If we're surrounded by people who are showing us love, we'll probably, want that love to continue, and therefore we're not going to call them out on certain things.
Yeah,
and once you do, you get shunned again, and you don't want to go through that.
So I feel like even apart from the creepiness, apart from the sexual assault defending, I felt there were elements of the convention that I found to be strange in concept, as described by John. Does that make sense? Because he said he was talking about atheist awards, atheist in the field of atheism, and I hear that and I think, wait, hold on, atheism is not a field, There's no field. What is the field of atheism? I don't believe in God is not a field,
Yeah, I study that leprechauns don't exist.
Yeah, it's just very strange.
Yeah.
Just the field of atheism. What? But that's, I digress. It just felt very strange for me to hear about awards for the people in the field of atheism,
Yeah, sure. And we'll get. I'm sure everything will be sort of out of chronological order when we're saying it. But they had at this convention or conference, so these awards. We, long story short, ended up submitting this exact video, this 10-minute clip, to their event as video of the year, as a way of sort of trying to get back at them in a sort of reasonably, journalistic manner, rather than.
I would say that it's not. I didn't feel like it was even to get back at them. I felt like it was to show because there are many people attending these events, and it was a way to force the organizers to show their own audiences, like, oh, this is our PR guy, and this is how he acts. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Back in a way of informing people.
Exactly what it was. At no point, unlike I should say this whole incident ended up with them trying to sue me for 6 figures.
Oh, we'll talk about that. I'm not sure if it's mentioned in the list, but in the playlist, but that's the most crazy part of it for me.
Yeah.
Okay, let's.
You might want to stop this thing because of what I'm going to tell you right now.
Okay.
I'll tell you the truth right now. You have not. You're just being like a run-of-the-mill kind of. Everybody asked me that same question.
Also, I'm sorry. I apologize in advance if I'm not being challenging enough. If I'm being just run-of-the-mill person here.
But you haven't challenged our thinking. You haven't challenged what we're thinking. You haven't challenged a Dawkins. You haven't challenged, like, you have your kind of like run-of-the-mill, I'm kind of happy.
Also, I'm pausing, but that's not even always an interview's job to challenge, quote unquote, a person. Sometimes it's just, hey, there's an event. You're hosting an event. You're you're the representative of the event. Tell us about the event.
Right.
Sometimes that's all that it can be. It's just, we want to know about the event. I'm here to interview about the event. I don't have to challenge you. That's like I feel like a person with less patience would have said, okay, you're the organizer for the event. I do interviews. Let me do my job and you do your job,
Sure. And so hindsight's great because now we can look back and say he's negging, which is basically he's trying to knock my confidence before building it back up again.
Yeah.
And so this is him trying to say that I'm no good. And then he'll go into, I can make you better. I'm your solution to your problem.
I
don't have.
I still don't understand what the point of that is, actually. Like,
it's just manipulation.
Yeah, but why? Why do it?
If they haven't been selling tickets, they should sell their tickets first, and then
then build that an empire of pawns that they have. I just like, what?
Things are good,
but it does feel like this his person that feels so great about himself, and I'm gonna be. I can definitely feel the manipulation, but I just don't know why would you want to do that.
It's masking as well. It's the fact that they're not confident. They don't have that self-esteem.
Yeah.
And in a moment, he says, "We're not the best-looking guys."
Yeah, that's also very strange. That's gonna be one of those weird moments. It's just.
Maybe I should ask this question, but you haven't asked any hard questions, like why and what and if you, I think that what we need in our community, what you need in is to ask honest questions and get really hardcore answers. I totally like the interview with you because you're very honest, you're very trustworthy. I feel like if you ask me a question, I'll answer it. But you haven't asked me a question that was hard enough.
That's the point of an interview.
That I should answer it. You've not asked a question that I feel like you challenged my emotional or my mental thinking. Why am I atheist? Why am I so anti-theist? And I think that what I would like before you answer the question.
Sorry?
Can you just a moment, just a few seconds ago, you could see me look down. I think I was looking down at my phone to look at what remaining notes I had, because I don't have outline question. I'll just have like a one word, and it said Kraus on it.
Right. Yeah.
See me smirk because he said, "I haven't asked you any hard questions," and they're like halfway through this. I'm sorry for keep pausing it. But
yeah.
I'm also aware of what I'm going to say next.
I also feels very strange to me because why does he want his emotional or whatever thing to be challenged? His job is to promote the event. Why would he want to be? Why is he so craving to be challenged on an emotional or philosophical level? It's just.
I'm not sure I'll ever understand that.
Very strange, Challenge me, please.
What I would like is that you be at our event and ask the hard questions. Ask the questions that nobody else.
So I'll ask the hard question. I don't know, what was this? What did you want? I just don't get it. Why go in that whole tirade about hard questions?
It's almost like how a serial killer just sort of it's too easy for them, so they have to bait the police and be like, "Come on, chase me," you know. And they turn up at the crime scene. It's like, just run away.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay, let's let the hungry audience listen to the thing that kind of became the catalyst of the entire thing, because that's just, that's a bit weird, but that's kind of okay, fair enough. But let's wait till you ask the actual question that's actually challenging.
So, on that point,
am I an anti-theist? There's a difference between an anti-theist, an atheist, and an agnostic. What I would love is that someone to challenge our thinking, to ask Dawkins the hard questions, to ask Krauss the really hard questions after every interview. What if after every interview and they sat down with you and you did the Rachel Maddow, you did that thing where he's like, okay, it was good, but I want to ask a hard question. Why are you this? Because what I want, and I think what you want as well, is to answer why we're doing the things we're doing. But the hard questions I cannot ask because I'm Lance. John can ask it. But somebody at the end of everything, when Richard Dawkins finishes his speech.
Also, again, I'm pausing because Titan said, to be frank, my impression was he became more intoxicated as the interview proceeded. But people can be intoxicated, although as much as this is very unprofessional to be intoxicated during an interview, but it doesn't follow automatically that you'd be a creep even when intoxicated.
But 3 of those podcasts I was with Aaron Ra, and the first question you ask Aaron is, what are you drinking? Because he's got such a tolerance. He's like this huge guy, right? And he loves coming over to the UK for, trying just every type of beer, cider, ale, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
And I don't drink, so I find it infinitely fascinating how people like the brewing process and how people care so much about little bits of percentages and all the rest of it. And so he was one of the speakers that dropped out of their event as a result of this.
All right. Okay. I will unpause.
And you ask Richard Dawkins, why are you an atheist? If you ask the hard questions, maybe then that is your thing. But I really like talking to you, but I don't think that you have found out who you want to be.
fair enough. You have set yourself up for
On
this
recording
question.
or are we off?
Sorry?
Are we recording this or is this off?
No, we're still live.
Okay, so, but the thing is I really like your questions. They're not deep enough. They have to be challenging. Lance, why do you actually believe? Like, come on, Lance. There might be a God. Seriously, Lance?
Okay.
Or Dawkins. It's not me, because you can, but ask Dawkins that question. What I would like to have is after the event, I would, look, this is between me and you and about your 400 viewers. Let's have every person after they speak come talk to you, and let's have you challenge them, because that would make, that's the thing. That's all I'm talking about. You love to challenge my thinking, then challenge it. But let's not challenge just me, because you'll win me. But let's get Dawkins, Krauss, Ra. What do you think?
I certainly have questions for them. I do have one for you.
With me. Way more prepared than you were with me, because you were not prepared with me.
That is such a weird
I
thing.
still have one
That
question
is-
for you.
Go ahead.
That is such a weird thing to say to somebody interviewing you, by the way.
When promoting your event.
Yeah, be more prepared than with me. That is such a bizarre thing to say to somebody.
Especially when they've got their tickets went up to £999 to meet, and this is an important detail, to meet the guests in a room upstairs in the hotel afterwards.
Yeah.
So
One of
when
the
we're talking
viewers
about
called
Krauss-
Convenient Estelle
Yeah.
said he's thinking of this as a debate,
Right.
which is actually not far off. It was like, challenge me. Like, come on, Lance.
Yeah,
And then
I didn't expect this to end up being like a 250,000 views across Rachel Oates, Shannon Q, Mr. Atheist, Jimmy Snow reaction channels, but you can see from me saying you've set yourself up. Like, I knew what was about to happen.
yeah,
There's no way.
a lot of them mentioned, a lot of them pointed out very rightfully so that if you would not ask this question, somebody would, because it's the most obvious question to ask, you know? There's this very famous person who's going to be on your event. They have serious allegations against them. Are you worried at all that it might impact your event? You know? It's a very obvious question. It's very... And I'm not saying it in a negative sense. It's a question that kind of has to be asked, you know?
Yeah, you're the PR guy. You've got to have an answer for that.
Yeah, and it has
Even
to
if you
be...
don't have an answer, you could just say, look, I'm from the top of my head, I don't have a very good answer for you, but I'm going to get back to you, and I'm going to make sure that I get the information that you need, because that's a very serious topic, right? You can fudge the answer.
Like even saying something like, Lawrence Krauss is a person that has contributed to the field of physics, which is an actual field, unlike atheism. And we really feel like not having him on would be a detriment to the event. We take the allegations very seriously, but we would like to believe that he didn't do it, you know?
So just to set the video up, this is the moment it goes south.
Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pause it.
He's asked for a hard question. He said that I wasn't good enough, and now he's going to get the question.
Right.
Is it right to platform Lawrence Krauss given his sexual assault allegations?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Please do not look at you. Look at you. Look at you. Let's look at me and look at you. You have never, come on. You two, we're guys. And now we're going to talk about this on the guy level. We're not going to talk about this Krauss level. We're going to talk about this guy level. You never got wrong signals? You never got wrong signals from a girl that you thought she likes me, she didn't like you, and you touched her?
I'm speaking specifically more like the...
I'm not talking about anybody else. I'm talking about you personally. Come on, dude. I did it. You did it. Look, come on. We're not the best looking guys in the world.
I wouldn't be able to specifically point out a moment where I thought they were leading me on. No.
Yeah, I didn't know. Did you know? Come on. When you were 15, 16, 17, did you get the signals? I didn't get them. I have no fucking idea what girls want.
In terms of the signals, no. Typically,
Did you want to kiss?
there aren't those specific signals, no.
Did you want to touch? Seriously, dude? If you didn't get it, I didn't get it either. And Krauss, he's just in the higher Heinlein. That's all it is. They could have nailed me, you, anybody else.
So I guess that's first part of the answer. I don't know what to do with the look at you, look at me, look at you. I don't know what to do with that. What was that about?
And neither do I, to be fair. I keep saying that I felt like I froze, and everyone in the comments is saying, "Oh, you were so calm, you blah blah blah," and I'm like, hold on.
Yeah, because you were expecting, you were. I think you were thinking that you were dealing with a professional up to that point.
I made the mistake of assuming he was competent. Yes.
Yeah, it was like, okay, you probably expected a very corporate PR answer, right?
Right.
You did not expect, look at you, bro, dude. Did I? You did it, I did it.
The thing, if he had just not berated me, I would have forgotten about Krauss. I wouldn't have even asked him the question had he not said, I need a hard question. And he literally asked for it, and then he couldn't answer. So it's stunning how they then came back to me later on and tried to sue me for ruining their event.
Did he already say here, we're not the best? I think he said here already, we're not the best looking guys, right?
Yeah.
In this portion.
Threw that in.
Because Convenient Estelle said, one of my viewers, I think he's saying, look at you, you're handsome, women must be attracted to you all the time. Have you never had someone you thought was wanting you to essay them? Sexual assault them, but
that's a lovely, sweet interpretation.
But that's not it, because he said we're not the best looking guys. Just moments later.
I mean that. Yeah. It's very important because like we could sit here and act with as much charity as possible towards Lance, and I cannot stress enough, it is exactly the way it looks.
Yeah, I feel like what he was actually saying, and that is a very. I realize that my interpretation is very bizarre and creepy and weird, but I feel like what he was saying is, we're both not good looking, so we gotta do what we gotta do.
If I'm trying to be as charitable as I could possibly be, it is that just dating, flirting, it's all difficult. Right?
Yeah.
Having to deal with rejection and trying to approach somebody in a polite way, and trying to make sure that you don't cross certain lines. It's not obvious to a 15-year-old, but he is not 15, he's 50 or something.
Yeah.
Right. And so that is the main difference. He's making a comparison there where he's saying it didn't get the signals when you're a kid, but that's not the context. The context, the specific context, which I'm just about to bring up about Christina Rad, was that he was approached at one of these conferences and put his hand under her skirt.
Yeah.
Which is what we'll about to get to.
Yeah. I watched her video about it. It's
she has to
like the thing that the accusation is that he didn't just put it under her skirt. The exact thing is that they were talking, and I will kind of describe the interaction to the best of my recollection. She kind of admired the guy as a known physicist, as a celebrity. She met him, and he made a comment about her skirt. I think he said something that somebody else wore a similar skirt. He grabbed it, and his fingers were under it, touching her thigh. And then he let it go, but he kind of just grazed her leg with his, he just kind of, how should I put it? While letting go of the skirt, he just grazed her hand over her leg.
Sorry, I was muted. Occasionally, it wouldn't be a stream without accidentally muting yourself. I was saying that my hand was up like this, so he was sort of cupping the skirt.
Yeah.
And then his hand went behind her. I think back towards her sort of arse.
Yeah, he was taking the hand away. He kind of just caressed the leg. Yeah.
Slimy.
Yes, he slided his
behavior.
hand on the leg as he was taking it. That's what she said, and I don't really have any reason not to believe it. I would not have.
Yeah.
I would not have any reason not to believe it then, and especially now.
Right, and she didn't sort of milk it for content. She
just did the video and then was gone.
She looked like she was actually distressed by it.
Yeah.
And that's an authentic. You can just tell from people's emotions and the way they act. That would be incredible acting if she had faked it. But I completely believe her.
I think it's the worst kind of. It's the worst kind of example of never meet your heroes, isn't
it? Yeah.
Okay, let's see what, because it gets worse from here.
Oh, so much worse.
Sure, I'm very questioning of how it's all happened at once for Neil deGrasse Tyson, for Krauss. Who else was it?
David Silverman.
Somebody else was. But then there's videos that come out from people like Christina Rad where they end up saying they touched my leg, they turned it around, they grabbed me.
We don't get signals from women. I mean, I'm lucky. Here's the thing. I've been married for 20 years. I got it. But beforehand...
Oh, speaking of signals, the easiest rule of thumb is don't touch people that you've just met. How's that for a rule of thumb? Just don't. Just if somebody approaches you, especially when they see you as an idol figure or whatever, just keep your distance and talk about the thing that you want to talk about. Don't
slow down. Can I make a note of that?
Sorry. Yeah, don't seek signals from your fans to touch them. Just have a regular conversation. People can do that.
Right, and you don't even need to make contact with anyone.
Yeah, you don't have to touch people. It's fine. You can just talk.
Yeah, and I'm a hugger, and in our friendship group, we have a large group of school friends who are all male, and we're typically that's not the done thing, because a group of guys typically don't just go around hugging each other, but we are a sort of hugging group, and we always have been. But
Hugs
I
are
absolutely
nice.
understand a new person,
Yeah.
right? I'm not going to just launch myself at them because it might make them feel uncomfortable. So it's
exactly. You do it with people that
basically
you're close to, basically, hugging or
sure.
whatever else. But you
Yeah.
don't just go to a fan and, oh, let me touch your leg because I got signals. It's just very strange.
I didn't know if I should touch her leg or touch her arm, or trust me, 20 years ago, I was like you are today. Let's be honest.
Like you are
Seriously,
today.
You're out with the girl. Yeah, and I'm not going to Kraus or anybody else. I'm not going to do it. But seriously,
Also, what is this? You're out with a girl. The situation that is being described here is not I'm out with a girl. It's I'm at a conference as a professional, as a physicist. I'm talking from the perspective of Kraus here, right? And there is a person who is in the audience who likes my work and wants to talk to me about my work. It's not I'm out with a girl, right? I'm in a professional setting with people that admire my work. So I should be talking about my work and keep it professional. Like this is not, it's not a date. He's describing, it's very weird that Lance is describing a date-like environment when talking about a professional conference. You're out with a girl. Okay, Lawrence Krauss was not out with a girl.
I'm not sure if he finishes this thought, but he at least starts it. So
yeah.
With a girl. I'm out with a girl. I'm not out with a girl because my wife would kill me. But if she didn't kill me, I'm out with a girl. You're out with a girl. She's nice. She's flirting her hair, and you're like, okay, how do you do this? Hello, my name is Lance. I would like to. What do you do? Hand, eye, heart. No, please. Full disclosure. We have went a little bit too far, and Kraus, I know personally, and if he put his hand on someone's shoulder, or this guy is the
specific claim was putting his hand under her skirt.
I don't know how many times I have put my hand under your skirt, but you didn't bitch once.
This is so weird.
That's the moment you realize this guy is in charge, or was in charge, of the PR of an event that he's going to, Kraus, etc.
Yeah.
Do you trust this person?
No.
With your teenage daughter at this conference?
I don't trust this person with myself. He's gonna try to do something to me. It's very bizarre that he's describing. Like, I'm not sure if anybody else caught it, but he's describing a professional meeting as if it was some kind of a date like situation. Oh, she's flirting. You're out with a girl. And you don't know how to proceed, But that's not it. It's a professional meeting with people that came here for the physics and for the, for the person that is well known for having done this and that and the other,
Yeah, it's how to conduct yourself when there is a blatant and obvious power imbalance between the two people.
Yeah, but it's almost as if, like, let's imagine I do the work that I do here, right? I have a press representative that I work with. They find me people to interview, and I've met the person in person. And what if I treated it like those people treated it? Oh, I'm meeting this person for an interview, but how should I proceed, quote unquote? Do I touch them on the leg now?
Like, get to that.
Like, what? It's very strange. Like, you can have thoughts like, how do I proceed when the arrangement is very explicitly, hey, we are here to meet on a date and we'll see how things go from there, right? But that's not it, It's like he's describing it as if he was on a dinner with a person and he is driving the person back home and he's thinking, so should I try to go for a kiss for goodbye, Does that make sense?
Right. And yeah, he's it's like he's already chosen to interpret the question as if it's that, and it seems like he's deflecting. Like he knows something about Krause's conduct, but he's now deflecting it into a straw man where it's like, oh no, it's this argument. It's it's completely different context.
And the fact that he's so very weirdly open about it as well, just
like he didn't hesitate.
Yeah, it's like the most obvious thing in the world.
Thought. Yeah, it was just absolutely. It wasn't a well.
We all do it.
See people's concern, right? It wasn't that. It was just.
We all do it. We all do it, bro. Convenient Estelle, says the viewer, because he thinks it's just between boys, and he thinks he will accept it. Yeah, he expected you to be like, oh yeah, I've done it plenty of times. I've oh god, I've touched so many. And the thing that he told you, I can't remember how many times I've touched you under your skirt or on the leg, and you've never bitched once.
That is so bizarre because he's trying to deflect with humor, right?
Yeah.
And there are like one or two people in the comments that are like, oh, this is clearly a joke. You've cut the video in a particular way. And it's like,
yeah, but you don't joke like that as a PR person.
No. And it's so like, you have to go so far beyond the line to even think, oh, that was a reasonable response.
Yeah. But there's a very sorry.
No, it's the case that needs charging.
Oh, sorry.
That's fine.
There's a very specific set of circumstances that would have to be in place for such a joke to be a reasonable joke to make,
Right. I don't. So I'm just making sure that everything's plugged in. I think that is charging. Oh, interesting. Okay. Not to worry. Sorry. Yeah. So he's in just approaching Act 3.
Yeah, and that's it gets worse, and then there's the second actor in this whole thing that, in my opinion, gets even worse. We'll get to it, but the Lance is just. I honestly, it feels like a parody. It feels like a deliberate sketch. We're gonna make this as ridiculous as possible, and in the end, we're gonna reveal that it was all a big kind of like a joke. Haha, just kidding. We were being a bit weird, but actually we're treating this very seriously. And, the big reveal is that this was staged, and this is how I would act if this was the worst possible answer that I could give. But actually, let's get serious for a moment and talk about this. Oh, yeah.
I've never met you.
I'm just kidding. Seriously, it's just, it's like hand on the knee, hand on the. It's come on, man. I'm not justifying anything I do. I'm just being honest. If I don't know the signals and I put my hand on your knee,
I'm not justifying anything. I'm just saying that it's normal.
Yeah, I'm just justifying everything.
Yeah.
What do you want me to say? I'm Krause's biggest supporter, but seriously, at the same time, I think in the 80s, I probably put my hand on a few people, and yeah, throw me in jail.
The Christina Rad video came out last year. I don't know exactly.
And that is a thing to say as a PR person, by the way. I probably did sexual assault. What of it? Put me in jail.
Yeah, and the reason I'm bringing up how recent the event and the claim is that he's making an argument there, which is to say things happened in the past.
Yeah.
Now there's no evidence for it, and now she's changed her story.
Yeah, he will say that. He will get to that. He will say stuff like, it's easy to just change it to under the skirt, but he also goes the route of it's been difficult. It's been different years back. It used to be that I've known many people from the olden times, and maybe it's a Poland thing, but they've never thought like that. They would never say, "Oh yeah, it used to be so normal to just sexually assault people." It used to be like you'd say hello to a person, and then you'd grab their legs and thighs and everything, and it would be all great, you know? I've never met such people that would tell me that. Have you?
To an extent.
I mean, you've met
I went
Lance, but
yeah, obviously, yeah. I went to an all boys school. I do understand the difference between actual locker room talk and the people who are claiming, oh, it's just locker room talk, and there's one group that's justifying the behavior, and there's others that are genuinely trying to be funny.
yeah, but there's
And-
locker room
and
talk
there is-
like
yeah, there's
even if we accept the locker room talk, right? Locker room talk is talk, and we're here talking about action, right?
Exactly. And he's got a responsibility on his shoulders, right?
Yeah.
Whereas
Like there's
yeah.
like I would like to even steel man this whole thing. I would say there's a difference between a bunch of teenage boys trying to show off and say, "Oh, I do this or that. I would ha ha ha," and then actually saying, "Oh yeah, no, it's actually completely normal to do it." You know?
Right. And the added element to this is that we're talking about people who generally do have power. You know, when somebody like Trump ends up saying, you know, it was just locker room talk, you know, grabbing her by the pussy or whatever, it's like,
Yeah.
no,
Well, Trump
you're one
didn't
of the
just.
richest people in the world.
Yeah, Trump didn't even say it was locker room talk. Trump says, "I'm so powerful that I can just get in here and do whatever I want."
Right. And so these are the sorts of people, when you're looking at Lance and eventually John, they're the people who are cozying up to those people in power and justifying their behavior
Yeah.
and providing a platform for that behavior,
Yeah.
because they'll look the other way. They haven't got a guest's interests at heart if they start to turn up and they want to, you know, meet their hero in a
Yeah.
private room for $1,000. They'll happily pocket it.
That's a whole other thing that I will have to get to the whole $1,000 or pounds, because that's a
Pound
whole
sterling.
pounds. Yeah, that's
$1,300 US.
to meet the person that will grab your leg. Amazing. It's just money well spent. Okay, let's continue with Lance, because there's so much to this, and it all reads so much different once you learn about the files, especially with John.
When the event happened, it was from this decade.
It's just a lot easier to do it, and I'm the biggest Lawrence Krauss fan, but she has her thing, and I think it's good, and it's okay, and I'm sorry, and
This is also a weird part. Let's let him go through his little thing, and then we can discuss it, because that was also in my mind very strange.
if I did it, I'm sorry. If I put my hand on her knee, very sorry. If he did his hand on her knee, very sorry. The 80s, 90s were little time. We weren't very persuasive, but today we won't do it. I think Loris has been falsely punished, and I mean, just saying something and putting your hand on somebody's knee, and then it's easier 14 years later to say he put his hand on my skirt. I'm not trying to be Donald Trump on this thing. I'm just saying, yeah, if I put my hand on your knee,
Say as it is, please.
you know what I'm gonna do?
Okay, because there's another thing coming next. The thing that's coming next is, yeah, but it's like I just don't understand what he was trying to do here with the "I'm sorry, if I put my hand on her knee, I'm sorry," and Lawrence was unfairly punished, and it's so easy to 14 years later say it wasn't just a knee, which, by the way, I think I've mentioned it to you in our DMs. It wouldn't change anything. What does it matter if it's just quote unquote the knee or under the skirt? It doesn't change it. The fact that he thought that it was a good idea to say it's easy to change it from the knee to under the skirt 14 years later, as if that's changed anything. It's still improper, unwanted touching.
Right.
It doesn't.
At that point, he's just scatterbrain. He's all over the place. He doesn't know what to say.
Yeah, it's just a meaningless distinction. It's just trying to deflect from the fact that Lawrence Krauss did sexual harassment. Oh, it's easy for the girl to just change what kind of unwanted touching it was, which is a very bizarre thing to say.
Sure. And as we're about to find out, it does get worse. But it's also at this point he tries to deflect with humor again because he doesn't know what to say, and it's the fact that he is the PR guy and he doesn't have an answer for this.
Yeah, and as someone from the audience has pointed out, and he's saying that it would have been fine anyway.
All he had to do was to not say you're not asking hard enough questions.
Yeah, but also all he'd have to say is, listen, we take these things very seriously. The allegations, we are aware of the allegations against Lawrence Krauss. He is here as a speaker. He is here to talk about his thing. He was there to give an award to Dawkins, right? Or something?
Yes, the big thing was an award services to reason or something that Dawkins was going to get as an award, and it was to be delivered by Lawrence Krauss on stage. And I believe that might have even happened at a later event that was 2024 or whatever. That was just solely, as far as I can tell, just solely organised by John, which is the business partner that.
Yeah, we'll get to John. We'll get to John. Yeah. John is a whole other thing, but
yeah,
I feel like it would be. It should not be difficult. It should not be difficult to say, listen, Lawrence Krauss will be there as a speaker. We are aware of the allegations. We will actually make we will make a conscious and directed effort to not allow any inappropriate action to happen, right? Lawrence will be there as a speaker. He will not be talking to any women on the event. He'll do his thing and that'll be it, right?
Yeah. And
we'll keep it professional. That should have been the answer. That should have been it feels so easy. That's this weird thing. It feels so like it's very basic human interaction kind of thing, you know?
And with all the sort of attention I got afterwards, and I was in time with Nick and various other people, all of them were asking me the same question. They were reversing it and saying, is it all right to platform Lawrence Krauss? And I was like, yeah, you actually, ironically, I'm the one that's saying, yes, you can. It's how. Are you in a one-to-one interview like this? Like you could posit any question towards me and I would just not be in
the time it was allegation. There was no, it was not really, there was not really a concluded thing, so to speak, right? There was not really although I feel like there was a better way to answer this question. Did he have any experience in PR? That is a good question that somebody asked right now. Has Lance actually had any experience with PR management before, or was he just chosen for that role because he had money? That is actually a good question.
Because he at least used to have a martial arts business he was based in Germany at the time. And he ended up through means of this is how we sort of caught them, because on one hand Lance here sent me an email months after this.
Yeah, we're gonna get let's not get our head over ourselves. We're going to get I feel like this is best to discuss when we're gonna be talking about John, because John is the one that said that will later say that he fired him. So I think we'll get into that later. But let's talk about Lance for a bit. I feel like because someone in the audience said, I think that this is just a boys' club where people are given positions over nepotism and not experience. And
it seems that way, yeah.
But it still feels strange to me because I'm not a PR expert, as you can probably tell, I'm not PR trained, but it feels very intuitive to me that you don't do such a thing that Lance did,
It mirrors the incompetence that we're seeing within the Trump administration.
Right. It feels like to do what Lance did, you actually have to get out of your way to do it. You have to put effort to act like Lance did.
You really have to be an absolute amateur who has never even so much as like, it's like what I was saying before about writing a book. Like if you've never engaged in any form of medium like at all, even if it's film, but you're still aware of storytelling, right? There's a beginning, middle, and end, but it's like they're trying to sort of fill in, as it were.
Yeah, but it's still it feels so bad. It's my viewer, Convenient Estelle, says, well, his experience through life has been that you just gotta talk it out. You never have to be strategic. You can just try to defend everything and people will fold. That's the thing. I don't even feel like you have to be strategic. Like you just, the rule of thumb being, just don't be a creep, you know?
Right. Well, let's let him be a creep.
Yeah, for a moment.
When you come to the event, I'm going to put my hand on your knee. I'm going to rub it up your leg, and you can say what you want. It's just going to be your knee. Okay, it's just going to be. I'm just saying it was a different time. It's not correct. But, I mean, Joe Biden used to put people's arm on other people's hand.
Also, the Joe Biden line is very strange considering that everybody has called Joe Biden a creep over this behavior.
Yeah, there does seem to be, particularly if you're on a particular side of politics, which I don't think we are, but there does seem to be a justification of, it's not just a tukukwe, like they say, well, you do this behavior too, which is what he starts with. It's
like whenever I've heard the conversation about Joe Biden either putting his hand on somebody's shoulders or sniffing hair, it was in the context of calling Joe Biden creepy. It was never, it's okay for Joe Biden to do.
I've not heard one Democrat in America say, hey, it's okay for Bill Clinton to do all these things, but it's wrong for Trump. Every single person is saying it's just wrong, right?
Yeah, it's basically like when I hear the argument, maybe it's different from me because I'm in Poland, right? Like when I hear the argument, oh, Trump is doing awful things with ICE and deportation, but hey, you know what? Obama did it as well. Well, okay, it was bad when Obama did it, and it's bad when Trump does it. What's your point?
Yeah,
you know,
they expect you to have the same level of adherence to your leader as they do to theirs.
Yeah. It's just when you see bad behavior, it doesn't matter who does it. It's bad behavior. It's just, what am I supposed to say? Am I supposed to start defending something bad because Obama did it? It's just, no. He did it, was bad, and now Trump does it, it's bad, right? It's like the Joe Biden line here is very strange.
It's okay.
Oh, it's not okay, but...
And then the end.
Yeah, that's lands. And there was a big blowback in the community, the skeptic atheist community, which, by the way, we could go on a side thing how the skeptic community got a really bad reputation because it has been taken over by a lot of very right-wing, bigoted people. The skeptic community, the anti-SJW crowd has taken over it. The Sargonovacads and other types have basically taken on the... When a lot of people think skeptic, they think of those people.
Right. There's in terms of, I mean, I call out, as we've just said, we just call out certain behavior wherever it lies.
Yeah.
And it's certainly just from a perspective of, I've called out the far left before, and I will continue to, but I fully acknowledge that this is the majority of the problem is on the right, and there's a very small problem on the left. Like they're not equal.
Yeah.
And there is like a huge quantity of sort of historical religious abuses and those sorts of things that are still going on that just they don't even factor when it comes to the left, right? So when it comes to the Catholic Church and protecting who was it Dawkins debated, it was like Reverend somebody or other, but he became like third in line to the Pope.
Yeah, there's been a lot of scandals even recently coming out in Poland when it comes to abuse of children by the Catholic Church. Yeah,
and it's there's no equivalent on the other side to that extent.
Yeah, Dawkins is not really a leftist, as somebody pointed out in the audience.
I wouldn't know, wouldn't have a clue. But yeah, so sorry, just to push this. So in the next few days after this, there were several response videos that came out from the likes of Rachel Oates and Shannon Q and Jimmy Snow.
Yeah, speaking of, do you think she'd be willing to do a follow-up on this with me?
Who, sorry?
Rachel Oates.
I'm not sure. Probably, well, yeah, maybe. I haven't been in contact for a while. But
to be able to get us in touch.
Hey, emails on should be on everyone's YouTube channel, right? So that's sort of public information anyway. But yeah, so they were wonderful in their support straight away, because it just felt off. This whole thing, and I went into what was my Discord at the time, and there were questions. So anyway, two speakers had dropped out. I think it was Miriam Namazi was the only female guest, ex-Muslim, who is quite hot on these sorts of abuses, and Aaron Ra, who had a non-refundable plane ticket that we then started to say, okay, well, if you're going to be in London that weekend anyway, why don't we do our own event for about 20 quid? And just cover costs and not make any profit. So that was the ball started rolling.
Yeah, which is also a very important point, because, well, there was a controversy about one speaker staying on that event and deciding to take part anyway. I think some people that responded to you were disappointed by that. I don't remember who it was that decided to.
Yeah, so there is an argument that says that you should turn up anyway, just so you can then start to speak about these topics at their event, which is just sort of the same thing as voting this video as video of the year. It's that same sort of mentality, but it's far braver because they're paying for your hotel.
Yeah.
So it's. I think that was Alex.
There's also
he did eventually drop out.
Important thing about what you just said. Let's do our own event for £20, because as far as I understand, the event organized by Lance and John, who we'll get to John in a moment, the base ticket was what, £600?
Well, highest was 1,000. I think the lowest from memory must have been at 3 figures. There was some early bird prices as well, but they typically, because it's a weekend event over 2 days and potentially having a hotel in the middle, we're talking 3 figures. And it's not necessarily all going in their pocket, but we do also have information, again, just jumping forward, that there was a completely different guy in Australia who I haven't talked to in a while, who was talking privately with John, who was his business partner that did but didn't sack Lance, who basically openly admitted we're just doing it for profit.
Yeah,
and
that's very strange. So people reacted to this. I've seen all the reactions. I've seen all the conversation regarding Lance. People very understandably said that this is not an event during which people will feel safe, and said that probably it might be well to reconsider going to the event. And then out of the shadows, the other organizer, John, emerged to start to attempt damage control and to interview with people. Can you tell us a bit about John and how that whole thing went? We're probably gonna watch I feel like we should watch some clips of John, because John is a very interesting character in his own right.
Let's look at this. I mean, well done, by the way. This is a hefty playlist of hours and hours. It must be about a day's worth of.
I felt like it, because you told me at one point to not waste time, to just watch the bits that you've told me to. But I feel like it was a good idea to go through them one by one, because I get the full context of what's happening with the whole thing.
and that's another 10-minute clip video that.
Which also reminds me that actually, when Lance was still showering you with praise, it feels like people don't really think what they're doing. Lance is like, your podcast is so amazing. You're so good in those podcasts. And then you ask the most obvious question that anybody who hears that would ask, right? Okay, what's your favorite thing about my podcast? You know?
Yeah.
And then him basically saying, oh, I don't really watch it.
Yeah.
Okay. But you just praised it to all hell. And now you're just, oh yeah, I just watched the intros when you introduce the people, and that's it. So you don't really know my podcast. You don't know it. You don't watch it, you know?
And hey, if people only watch the intro, they're getting a great intro.
Yeah, it's what? What?
So proud of all the days I put into that scene going through space. But yeah, so I did send you that other clip video with John. So just to update people on John. So John operates in a similar sort of awkward way. He didn't actually declare that Lance had been fired. He went to Hemant Mehta's blog and put a comment on one of his most recent blog posts that meant he did like a long line and said, I'd sacked Lance and I'm actually against religious oppression. It's like, we're not talking about that, right? We're all on the same page when it comes to religion, right? We're talking about you, your event, your PR man's conduct. He's financing the event and he's fired, but turns out it wasn't, because Lance had emailed me months later saying, or from the official conference email saying, looking forward to working with you. And as far as I'm aware, it's inductive logic, but I think he was trying to email somebody like David Silverman or some other David that you would expect at one of these sorts of events.
I think he probably wrote David and the email autofilled it and he just sent it.
Right. And that's hilarious because it just speaks to the incompetence that we're about to see in this next clip.
From John. But you said that John operated in a similar awkward manner, but I'm not even sure if I agree. Like Lance had the attitude of, oh, come on, bro, we're bros. You know what's up, you know. We do it, you do it, they all do it. Everybody sexually assaults everybody and it's cool in our circle of men. But John felt a bit different. John felt like this character that was trying to create the atmosphere of, I'm powerful, I'm the organizer, I know what's best, and you're beneath me.
Yes, and yes, we're about to see that. He has this condescending complex. There's so much that could be shown, including that weird like 5-minute clip he sends Rachel with like, here's like my daughter's inflatable pig.
Yeah,
you like pigs too.
Yeah, so you have a plushie.
We're talking about sexual assault here.
Yeah, it has the air of powerful men can just do whatever they want, and it should be okay, and you should be fine with it, and you're going to be fine with it by the end of this conversation.
If you see some of his debates as well, they're online. He doesn't formulate his thoughts. He doesn't structure his argument in the right way. He goes into an argument with a Christian, a Muslim, whoever, and has these religious debates, and I think he still does, in which he acts in this peculiar manner, John, and he puts the wrong emphasis on the wrong point.
I think
he's really about to make like, I'm got this checkmate moment, and he's just like saying his name. Right?
I think like the thing that he does is basically he thinks that his authority will push him through, if that makes sense. I don't have to make a point. I don't really have to structure an argument. My status and my authority will just walk me through the entire conversation, and I'll be on top because I am on top, right?
And there is an arrogance there. He has like this atheist superiority. He definitely does look down on others, and it's quite bizarre because he demands for for months he's trying to demand that I am on his channel, and so we do, before this next clip video, there is a bridge to gap there. So a few weeks, I'm going to say like maybe a couple weeks later or something like that, he interviews. He's on Shannon Q's channel for an interview, in which he says a few bizarre things.
Yeah.
Including inviting himself over for Christmas dinner. And
Yes.
very odd
I will try
yeah.
to describe this. When he had an interview with a person, and he asked her, it was nearing Christmas at the time, are you in the kitchen? Which is a very strange thing to ask a person when it comes to the
Especially a
subject
woman.
matter. Yeah, woman. He is asking a woman when discussing sexual assault of women, misogyny, sexism. He said several times that he's not sexist, he's not all for that. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, he asks a woman interviewing him, are you in the kitchen? Oh, because I was going to invite myself to your table, your Christmas table. It's like,
bearing in mind, at the time, at least, she was a single mother.
yeah, because she was
as well.
discussing
That was-
her 8-year-old son. Her response was even, if I'm not in the kitchen, then we're not going to eat because my son doesn't cook yet. He's 8. Where's this coming from?
So that interview was a car crash. And if that interview is a car crash, then this next one with Navadia is more like a train that's gone off the rails and gone straight
Oh,
to
yeah.
a school.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's so off the rails, this,
Yeah.
to the point where this is just comedy.
And the
At
weird
one
thing
point-
is, again, it feels like such lack of self-awareness when it comes to basic communication. I
None
actually
whatsoever.
genuinely believe there's even a way to ask the kitchen thing without it being so weird. Like like to steel man a little bit, to kind of, I'm not even going to say defend, to kind of give an example how this could be walked through without it being creepy or weird. Hey, I'm a big fan of cooking. Do you like to cook? Right?
Sure.
I do cooking. I'm a guy who does. I do my own dishes for Christmas. Do you do you're the one that cooks for Christmas, right? Because I do cooking for Christmas or something like that, right?
Clean my own clothes.
To not make it weird, right? Like when you invite your son for Christmas, are you gonna cook the dishes, or or do you get your Christmas food from somewhere? You know, if you really want to if you really want to discuss Christmas for some reason, you know.
I think that this structure of the way he speaks is that you don't really know where he's going with the conversation. Like, the objective is not very clear.
Yeah.
If I'm trying to have a religious debate with a Christian, right, it might be that the ultimate aim is trying to get them to self-reflect. And so I will point out passages of the Bible that say, okay, are you okay with bits to do with slavery? Is it okay for me to do this now to you?
Yeah.
And just trying to get them to at least say, I don't know, I'm going to have to think about that. Right? That in itself is a victory. But he doesn't do that. He just meanders. He's just off with the fairies, but not in a sort of Luna Lovegood sort of way, where it's nice and sweet and lovely, and just like, that's, maybe Nargles are real. He's just off.
So John
and he's like a parallel train track.
John was a main organizer of the event, right?
Yes.
And as far as I understand, he still organizes events. To your recollection, did his behavior change in any way since those days, or is he still the same old John?
I haven't really seen too much, but he does still have the same awkward mannerisms, and he's not. I couldn't suggest whether he's still this bad, as we're about to find out, but he, at the very least, he does still come across as that sort of socially awkward guy. Oh, there's another detail there as well, which is, you need to know about John, which is, he is or was a science teacher. So he is meant, it would be reasonable to expect that he upholds certain standards of evidence and reasoning and critical thinking, which it makes this even more bizarre. It's like turkeys voting for Christmas. It's like, you know, it's
And there's
very bachelor
also
sort
and
of,
there's
yeah,
also the whole
hypocrisy.
Islamophobia thing that gets into the conversation, if that makes sense. Because he's going,
In
John,
this one,
yeah, because John tries to deflect during the interview by saying, "You tell me about this or that, but I'm out there fighting for girls not to be stoned by the Muslims."
right? Okay.
There was an
He does
element.
do that.
There is an element of
Yeah.
that during the interview.
I mean, he did that in the Hemant Meta comment as well. He just went off again on a completely separate tangent, thinking I'm proving my credentials.
Yeah, I'm fighting the good
And
fight against
it,
them evil Muslims by defending women. There was a thing that Richard Dawkins also did against the person when he was like, "Oh, you dare to complain about this or that happening to you during an event, but have you considered that a poor Muslima person cannot walk outside without a man?" Does that make sense?
it's relative privation is what it is. So it's sort of, I forget the names of all these fallacies, but
Yeah.
write a book on them because I just needed to write it for my own sake. Relative privation is when you say there is a bad thing happening, but there's a worse thing happening, and therefore I'm not going to negate that bad thing happening because there's a terrible thing happening, and so we can't talk about this bad thing
Because there's worse.
something
I
over there
really
is also
dislike it
going
when
on.
people do that, by the way. I really
Yeah.
dislike. Like I like if I were John, I'd be like, "Hey, listen to your funny stories about sexual assault when I'm here where there's a literal war going on and at any moment the city might be bombed," which actually is not completely outside of probability. Thank goodness tonight's pretty calm. There's so far so good. No bombings. But you know what I mean, right?
Yeah.
This kind of also hello the Kentucky atheist. Do you know the
Hey.
Kentucky atheist?
I do not. I actually, yeah, because I can't see the comments and the audience. Which platform are they on?
YouTube.
YouTube.
Yeah.
Let's find them, and then I can
Like
say hello.
I really dislike the argumentation of there's always worse things happening, so we should not be able to discuss the bad thing happening and treat it seriously.
Could you send me the link to the audience link
Yeah,
to the stream, just
yeah.
because I
Yeah.
can't. It should be quicker.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Let's I'm gonna play the clip of John, who just seemed worse to me than Lance, to be honest. Lance just felt immature and incompetent to me, but John, at least on a emotional level, felt worse to me.
There we go.
Yes.
Hello, Titan. Hello, Estelle. Hello, Kentucky. Hello, good.
Kentucky atheist is a person that I'm going to have a conversation with as well in a few days. They are a content creator as well. Okay, let's watch some John. Because John, oh boy.
So yeah, I should say for the purposes of setting this up. So this is the third of 4 various interviews. So there was me and Lance, then there was Shannon and John, both car crashes, and now this, which is Navadia, John, and Nacho has conveniently put this into a highlights clip where you get lots of the quotes. There is a little bit of editing. I think there might be some time stretching. There might be some sort of comedic repetition of certain incidents, but I'm just pointing out a very small amount of bias, but it's still him, right? It's still him in his own words. And
John did some comedic repetition on his own, and he thought that he was looking good while doing it. Like I'm just gonna give an example now. When I think it was during the Nervadia interview, when she said, "Why is this or that person being nominated to an award?" Which I still find his justification for it to be ridiculous. And then John would just start saying, "Complain, complain, 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 complain," as if he just got glitched because
And
he repeated the word complain 50 times for saying complain to the audience that nominated him. Yeah, okay, so do you not have any control over your own event?
Right. And just to sort of zoom it back out again, the thing to take from all of this is the way they treat women, and are they going to protect people, especially women, at their event from people like Kraus?
Yeah.
And the answer is no. It's definitely no.
It's very strange deflection of responsibility for a organizer to do.
Right.
Okay,
Yeah.
let's watch. John is I really
I haven't seen this in a while.
I've seen this recently, and it's just
As unhinged as I remember.
Yeah, unhinged is the right word.
There is a video on our Facebook group, Atheist, what's it called?
And the thing that people that are religious, they always use the argument of, oh, atheism is a religion. And I always found that argument to be silly, right?
Sure.
But when I hear John speak of the field of atheism and of the awards in the field of atheism, it gives me pause genuinely.
Oh, yeah. So, sorry, I should also set that bit up. So you said about the awards, and we, throughout that build up to Shannon's interview with John, we pushed that last video to be nominated Video of the Year. John came forward and said there were no nominations at all, which is a very different claim to saying, we've heard you, we understand, this was a terrible thing, he's fired. We are going to remove that video from Video of the Year, but these are the changes we're going to make at our event, right? There's a more sensible way of dealing with it, but he instead specifically claimed there were no nominations. I know I nominated it. I know there are mods from my channel that...
And he also gave you a response about the nomination.
Yes,
and he said that he didn't.
Subtle wording is.
He said he didn't know anything about your nomination, but then gave you a response saying, if you don't do this or that, then I will not accept your nomination.
Exactly, and that's a good point. So on the emails that went back and forth between us, he said, I can't accept your nomination if you don't let me on your channel.
Yeah. Which is
how can that happen if there were no nominations?
If there were no this is very, very strange. Yeah. And it's even weirder that he thought that he would not be caught in that.
And it's also the fact that, remember, he is a science teacher. He should have got basic logic like that.
He's a science teacher.
But we knew he was lying at this point. So it's not just the behavior and the actions, it's the people around them that will defend this behavior. And that, when it comes to Kraus and what we've found out about the files recently, we could have legitimately prevented people from being sexually assaulted.
Yeah.
Because this event no longer happened, mostly because of the pandemic. But it's kind of shocking.
It is. And I still have to ask, why do it? Why not just be, as boring as it might sound, why not just be professional?
I think to an extent, he wrongly thought that controversy sells, because it does. Controversy does sell, but you also have to have a point, right? You have to have some semblance of an argument whereby sparks have flown, and my subscribers doubled. I managed to get monetized on my channel because of this fallout, right? So I went from about the 400, whatever it was, 600 subs up to about 1,200 just because of this. And it's the fact that I was on the correct side that meant that controversy was a good thing. But from their perspective, they're thinking, oh, controversy, this is fantastic. We're going to get so many people coming in.
Yeah, but I don't feel like this works when you're organizing a real professional event. Any PR is good PR. Like you should want good PR.
Yeah, so it goes back to that like Wolf of Wall Street moment with DiCaprio, and I've forgotten who played his first wife, but she's looking at the newspaper saying like, all press is good press, because he immediately in the next scene has dozens of all these young men coming up to him saying, make me rich, make me famous.
Yeah.
And he's elevated into this position. I think that sort of mentality that's what John is expecting to happen to him, by saying, hey, all the dozens of people are going to come up to me and be like, could you get me access to Krauss and Dawkins? And it doesn't happen because he just cannot either admit what role he's playing, or he just is completely self sort of unaware.
Or he just thinks that since he is in a position of power, then it doesn't really matter. He's expecting young men to come in droves, as Stal said.
Right. Reading some, let's catch up on some comments. Let's
watch some John, because I honestly, I said it a few times. I felt John was worse than Lance. I feel like Lance feels arguable. Like an underling of John's. Sense.
Yeah.
And
Hold on, I'll play it for them.
There is a video on our Facebook group, Atheist. What's it called?
Because I sorry for pausing us right off the bat, but it feels like Lance. I guess those are different approaches. Lance was trying to buddy up to you, and I feel like John is doing his best to speak from authority. If that makes sense.
Yes, it's well worth saying that he's really pushing quite hard for an interview on my channel, because he feels like he's been hard done by, like he's the victim. Like I'm not willing to talk to him because I'm pushing like a particular biased agenda, and it's like no, I just asked one question.
Yeah,
his business partner imploded. You need to take responsibility for your event.
Yeah, which should not be difficult to do, by the way, for someone that is even a bit professional.
And anti-theist.
You should be apologizing for Lance while we're at it, but
he never did. No.
Yeah.
Anti-Theist International. That's the Facebook group.
Like he should be saying, okay, I hired the guy. It was my responsibility. It's completely on me. All I can do is apologize. Right? Should be obvious.
Muted again. Yeah.
How can I inform him that he's been nominated if I have no channel to him?
You just comment on their channel.
This is also a very weird moment when, like, I'm not gonna be mad at people for being technically, I don't know, illiterate or something, that for not knowing how to navigate the internet or certain technologies, but saying, oh, there's this public figure and I just have zero channel to them, and I just nominated them and did not inform them because there's no way for me to do it. All creators just put out their emails, and like what you told me, right? People usually just put out their emails out there, or like it's not impossible to inform people that they've been nominated for an award.
Yeah, and incompetence in that regard, like if you're of a particular generation and just don't know where to go, that's fine.
Yeah.
On the About page, when you're on a laptop or desktop on somebody's YouTube channel, you go to the About page. There's all the different, post, live, reels, community, and About. You click About, you click a button to prove you're not a bot, and then you can view their email address and that's associated with the YouTube channel.
For example, when I ask you about Rachel Oakes, right? I think I asked you about Rachel Oakes.
Mm.
Yeah, when I asked you about Rachel Oakes, it wasn't me saying, oh, I have no clue how to reach or reach out. It was more like me saying, she'll probably be more receptive when someone she knows asks.
Yes, and that does make sense, albeit I haven't.
No, I'm not pushing for it. I'm just explaining that was my logic behind it. I wasn't being a John saying, I have no channel to...
Don't worry, yeah.
Yeah,
sure.
It is a very overused color.
Okay, so the next question is that...
Some people are unreasonably suspicious, but what can I do about that? Are you privy to?
You cannot act like this, right? If you don't want people to be super suspicious, you can try to mitigate and limit your suspicious behavior. It just came to mind right now to me, you know? Does that make sense?
Sure. I'm just conscious as well. Nobody in the audience actually knows what John's done, so yeah, I'll try and sort of respond less for now.
Okay. So let's
just for video's sake, but
yeah. So let's let the John thing run for a bit, right? And when you want me to stop, you'll tell me, okay?
you stop whenever you like. But yeah, it's
All right.
let him run. Yeah.
To information that I'm not utter rubbish. I did not nominate. I did not nominate anyone. The only person in the world who is not allowed to nominate or vote is me.
Okay.
Not for me.
Yeah.
I did not nominate him.
Yeah.
Navadia's not even accusing him of nominating somebody, right? This is he's getting so angry over a thing she didn't even say. Well,
Yeah.
I think for the full context, Navadia in that moment is saying there were nominations for the video submission by other people, by me, by Navadia, by mods, I'm going to go ahead and guess there was at least a dozen people that put the video forward, and they're not like, getting a lot of attention because they had a book from about 10 years prior that was up for Book of the Year. Like, there just wasn't enough interest yet in this concept, and so she's trying to question him on, there were nominations, and then he's tried to deflect and just gone off on a tangent by saying, "Look, are you accusing me of nominating somebody? No, nobody said that."
Yeah.
It's almost like a Pam Bondi level of deflection. Have you been keeping up with that?
No, but
this recent days she's just been deflecting so hard.
But it's just the thing with this whole thing is that, to put it, because there are two nominations that have been discussed here, yours and a person that has, again, some sexual assault allegations, right? Sexual harassment. I said that there were two main nominations that were discussed during this interview with John. One was yours, which was kind of John was pretending that he never got anything. And the other was from a person that has, again, sexual harassment allegations, right?
I think it was it's David Silverman. But
yeah, I think so too.
And
the weird thing about this whole thing is that he explains the process of nomination on 5 different occasions. He says, people from the audience, people can just nominate their candidates, and we have to accept it and just allow the people TM to vote, right?
Which is the exact opposite of what he's doing.
Yeah, but that's also nonsensical. Like, he is the organizer of the event. He's in charge of the event. He's not just some neutral party that we will just allow the public to say their thing. That's just nonsense. The way the process works in actuality is, of course, we allow people to nominate candidates, right? That's the first step. The first step is that people put forward their candidates. They put them forward to us. And then we, as organizers of the event, look at those candidates and we judge whether or not it is appropriate for their nomination to continue, right? That is the way that it would go.
And being transparent as to say, look, this is our sort of vetting process. It has to be released within the past 12 months.
Exactly.
It can't be, Mein Kampf. It has to be.
Yeah, it has to be vetted. Yeah, of course.
Relevant to the topic.
Like, what if
it can't just be a book on caterpillars? It has to be.
Like, what if the public, quote unquote, nominated someone that actually was convicted of sexual assault? Would he just, I don't know, would he just shrug and say, well, it is what it is, people have nominated him?
And I don't know whether this sort of clip video will show it, but Navadia does push on that because technically, so Shannon and Navadia were asking him, is Lance barred from the event because he has threatened me with sexual assault?
Yeah,
I'm going to
exactly.
touch you up at our
Which
event.
is,
And John couldn't say Lance will not be attending.
oh, he could. He did. He said he would be
Oh, did he?
attending. He said he would be attending because he broke no law. Like that is the other
yeah.
thing that John keeps repeating. That
It's
are you
law,
saying
yeah.
that accusation equals conviction because you're not a law-abiding citizen if you do. You break the law. This is a law-abiding event, and it's this whole line of reasoning is complete nonsense to me because
Precisely. It's
the code of conduct for an event or the terms of service for a site or for a social media site, for example, these are not tethered directly to law, convictions, etc. Like the thing that should have been told to Lance is, okay, Lance, calm down. We're not in a court of law, okay? We're not on trial here. We're talking about a code of conduct, and when someone breaches certain conduct that is not acceptable in the convention, it doesn't matter if there's a conviction, okay? If there was a conviction or any kind of legal thing happening, then the recourse for the organizers of an event would not be to say, hey, you have to leave this event. It would be to call the police, right?
Exactly. And this is the thing. Lance's behavior was enough to get him fired, but not to get him barred from the event.
Yeah. And he did breach the code of conduct. He was inappropriate to you.
And so John mentions like he's got a particular, like there's some sort of charity named after a woman whose name I forget, and it's the blah 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 policy, and it's like we've got this shiny new policy that we've sort of implemented for our event. It's like, well, Lance has broken that.
Yeah.
It's like it's just like saying if you come anywhere near me, I'm gonna sort of punch you in the face, and then he comes near you, and then you don't follow through.
Yeah.
And that's probably for the best. It wasn't the best metaphor, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I know, I do. But that's also why I think John was worse than Lance, because John was much more openly dishonest and slimy, because there's also another topic that comes up in the interview, which is, okay, did you have this policy of anti-harassment in place before or after the Lance interview with Dave?
I think it was after.
Yeah, it was after. And he started saying, it's because it takes time to set up a site, it takes time to put things on a site, etc. But that was not the question, because a professional writes the policy and then creates the site. You don't just write the policy as you create the site, as John was kind of trying to maybe imply. First, you figure out your policies, all of them. You put them to paper or wherever else, and then you start creating the site and you implement the things that you already have created beforehand. And that was the question. When was that policy created, right?
Right. So I'm trying to keep up with the chat. I'm just trying to send a message. But yeah, the way that they go about even so much as just organising this event is such a, it's not even, because it is amateur, but it's also, it would be fine if it was amateur. If the artwork and the website aren't as swish and as lovely or whatever, that's all fine. You don't have to be particularly good at that. It's just the fact that they are advertising themselves as a high-end luxury gala £1,000 ticket with Richard Dawkins and Lawrence Krauss in this fancy setting with this awards ceremony.
And it just feels like amateur hour.
Like the money's going in their pocket, not towards a decent PR guy.
Yeah. Which, okay, let's let him talk a bit more. But there's so much when it comes to this John thing. There's actually a lot more when it comes to this John thing, when it comes to the Lance thing, because Lance acts in a creepy way, and that's that. And with John, it's more sinister, I feel. There's a lot more lying involved. There's a lot more obfuscation involved.
I have not voted for him.
My question is:
Can I help
is it
that David
is it a
Worley was
requirement
not nominated?
you personally that
Because
you the
people
convention?
What
Why
is
has
it
the
that you
convention?
don't understand? People nominated him.
Well, look, I already told you. I have people skills. I am good at dealing with people. Can't you understand that? What the hell is wrong with you people?
It seems to me that what you are suggesting is completely unreasonable.
But you're still not
Thank
answering
you.
my question. Why
Thank you.
was
That
it
is
not
probably
finalized before you even
probably the
made
most-
the website?
Probably the most sensible thing you've said so far.
Really?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
you.
Thank you for telling me that. I appreciate that compliment from you. However, I would disagree with you on that one.
Very, very strange thing to say as well.
Listen.
Yeah.
Also, can I ask, have you heard about Dave Con? He's doing the on the same weekend. He's doing a convention. It's got Aaron Ra there. It's got Rachel Oates. It's got Faye the Most Gracious. Have you heard of that? It's got Aaron Ra there. It's got Rachel Oates. It's Faye the Most Gracious. I do know that David Worley has been nominated by the public on several occasions.
I honestly thought that was part of my laptop freezing this bit, you know?
It's not.
You have not quite yet put him up as a nominee.
Why would he think that he looked good doing this? I have no clue.
I think, yeah, he's becoming emotionally overwhelmed and is therefore trying to shout her down. It's not. He just can't deal with it.
Oh yeah, I did hear one of the videos that you've sent me was a podcast where people pointed out that he apparently is an ex-politician and apparently it's the normal thing to do in politics.
To an extent. I don't know if he I think he might have stood for like the Liberal Democrats or something. But yeah, the fourth interview that we can't really find anymore because it's a private video was Atheist Pastor, and he has stood for election. And I think there were a few sort of back and forth interviews between them after that, like completely off topic, but that just reveals how John treats men differently. That was one of the things, I think it was on Godless Scummer's stream, where we were saying we just wonder if Chris, Atheist Pastor, interviewed him, would he be treating Chris any differently to Shannon and Navadia? And he does have these same sorts of flare-ups, which is...
It's very strange because I just don't understand. I don't understand how you... Like, I do interviews with families. I do interviews with usually parents and children, right?
Yep.
But I'll treat even when I talk to a child, whether they're 16, 9, or whatever, I will try to treat them seriously, if that makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, you'll have certain things that you will speak about with a child that you will probably won't with an adult, right? When I interview a child, I will probably, even if I talk about serious topics like war, I will take the time to ask them about their hobbies and maybe ask a few follow-up questions on their interests and hobbies, right? You probably will not necessarily do that with an adult, right? But
we speak in euphemism and that sort of thing, just to try and soften our language for...
Yeah, sure. But I don't understand this attitude of trying to promote a thing for yourself and then condescend to the person that you're trying to promote your stuff to. Does that make sense?
Sure.
It just makes even from a business perspective, it just makes no logical sense to act like that.
He's becoming particularly triggered, as it were, just because he cannot admit to himself. All he needs to do was just to say, look, this has happened.
Yeah.
Apologize. Like, this is...
Let's move on from it. So, we can make it work, we can make it better or whatever else, right?
Yeah. And that just tells me he lacks a fundamental honesty, which is essential for protecting people from certain safeguarding issues.
Yeah, which...
The first step is accepting that something
which
that's happened.
also happens to be very much in line with what we've seen in the files, right? With Dawkins, with Krauss, with uh, Richard Dawkins writing an email which was then forwarded to Epstein saying, "Oh, there's this nasty young woman that is attacking Krauss and Epstein
Yeah.
and."
It was the Rebecca Watson stuff, wasn't it? The atheism plot,
And I want to debunk it. So can you even remind me what this whole Epstein thing is about? Which is very weird because at that point, I think Epstein was already convicted of soliciting a minor for child prostitution, right?
Right. And so this is the main problem with that, is because he'd already been convicted, come out of jail, and then there's various people at that point that would just drop
Defending him.
as an associate, and there are continued conversations happening after, whether
Yeah.
it be Andrew Mountbatten Windsor or whoever, and that puts people
Epstein was a
in a tricky situation.
It's just a very big illustration on how people, not only do powerful people think that they can get away with things, but in the case of Epstein, it felt partially that they could, because even when he was arrested, the whole arrangement that he had was during the day he could just go to work and work normally, and then he would just report back to jail.
Well, it certainly seems universal that the prison system doesn't actually reform, particularly if you have, I don't know what his circumstances were, but if you have private prison systems, you like in America, you essentially have a system whereby you are financially profiting from there being more crime.
Yeah.
And the worst thing that can
Yes,
happen for a
yes.
private prison is no crime.
Yeah,
Right, because that's
and
zero
there's
profits. And
there's
so-
a whole discussion on the American way being the punitive way, which creates a whole lot of recidivism, and there are countries that focus on a more rehabilitation style system, which creates a lot less recidivism. But
As far as I understand it, I have a cousin that was family story is he didn't drop the baby, right? But basically one of his children died. And I think it was because the mum had fallen asleep and the baby had fallen asleep on her and fallen off.
Right.
And that's obviously immensely sort of tragic, but I think the idea was that they believed that if he took the rap for it, then she would have a better chance of being allowed custody. And it turns out that that fell apart as well. So he went to prison and he ended up having a degree of like skills and training that meant that he was actually, like when he came out, he was in a better position to then be a productive member of society, and it wasn't just
Right.
There wasn't just a risk of reoffence,
Yeah.
which as far as I'm aware he hasn't. So
Well, the children thing, it kind of, it's taking care of children can be difficult. Like my best friend had a situation where I think he was with one of his sons, and he rolled over and he fell off the bed. Nothing happened, thank God, but those situations can happen.
definitely, I've got so much sympathy for certain kids in certain situations. I know, as I've said at the start, I'm going to be working with a group of kids that are just left out of the mainstream. They've already established a degree of identity which says I'm a bad person, I do bad things, and you have to try and undo that. Is going to be a lot of effort. There's kids that are just throwing chairs at their parents. There's one I was working with who would just stare at you, or that their particular kid, they've just lost it, they've seen the fog or whatever, and you try to physically intervene as an adult. You physically intervene with this, what was like a 9-year-old, 8-year-old, and he just backs you off and keeps staring at this other kid. And the only way that's going to happen is if they've been brought up in an abusive relationship or have had an abusive situation far, far too young, let alone ever, right? Because no abuse is ever acceptable. But when it happens to children, it has such a profound effect on them, to the point where they're vastly more likely to then become criminals and offenders and dip into the sorts of behaviour that are found in the files,
Yeah, and it's very valuable to work to try to give them counseling, to try to give them the help they need.
It's just a really long, slow process, but
Yeah,
yeah,
but I think it can be done. And you obviously believe it can be done as well, since that is the career
yeah.
path that you have chosen.
As a collective, yeah. Alone, it's basically
Yeah.
impossible. Yeah.
Okay, let's continue with John.
So would you be able to respond to that?
Complain to the public.
Guards.
That is the worst thing that you can say when you're promoting an event. Complain to the public. Like, well, our hands are tied. It's not like we're the organizers that can possibly vet these nominations, right? Complain to the
Yeah.
complain. I think someone did a Dalek out of this.
Yeah.
In one of the videos.
Yeah. It's quite bizarre putting it into context, trying to just hold them accountable for somebody who's defended sexual assault and accused me, threatened me with sexual assault, and then he says a statement like "complain to the public."
Yeah.
Being shouted at a female interviewer. I mean, it's
very bizarre.
Presenting your convention. Why have you
You
not?
should never act like that, no matter what the situation, no matter what the context. You should just wait calmly for the person to finish their thing, and then you respond. You don't just talk over people like that. It just, no matter what, it will always make you look bad. It doesn't
I think we made some T-shirts of these quotes at one point.
Yeah, it's
highly
it's
merchandisable
It's
event.
just unhinged is the right way to describe it.
Yeah.
Him. Why have you not broken? Why have you not banned him from the convention?
The policy applies.
Like, genuinely, if I were to be interviewing him, I'd ask, okay, are you okay? You good?
I also just shout out to Navadia because she just sort of steamrolls and she just carries on.
Yeah, but it feels like it would be the right time to just pause the whole thing and say, okay, can we establish some ground rules for this? Like, when I speak, you don't speak. When you speak, I don't speak. Just some basic human interaction rules that I guess we have to set up now.
Yeah, right. And this is the thing. You wouldn't even need to do. I mean, I don't know how long we've been going for, like 2.5 hours. We've not once talked about ground rules because we can behave. Right?
Yeah.
I'm genuinely interested in what you have to say, and he doesn't have that. He just has his own superior thoughts.
Yeah, it's very strange for a person that, again, tries to put his best foot forward, tries to it's a promotion for him. He says that at the end of the interview. Thank you for giving me this chance to promote my event. But what kind of a promotion is this when you just act like that?
Yeah, he sincerely does not realize how much of a minority he is in when he is behaving like this. He genuinely believes there is an army of people out there that are looking at us as if we are ridiculous.
Yeah.
So I was just about to say he accuses me of being woke, and
woke. Well, woke is just a meaningless term at this point, isn't it? Woke is just anything that I don't like, especially from the right wing.
Yeah, and I mean, I quite like going into. I mean, this is not an argument for now, but quite like going into like the academic history of woke, and you can talk about
Yeah.
Kimberly Crenshaw's Mapping the Margins 1990. You can talk about how she coined intersectionality, critical race theory. There's Foucault.
But that's a whole different conversation,
gender studies,
right?
Exactly. And that's not what they're talking about either.
Yeah.
They just think we're overreacting.
Yeah, woke is basically anything that I don't like. And ironically, when the right uses it. Oh, there's a person of color in a video game. That's woke. Okay.
Yeah, or in adverts and things like that.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, they exist.
Yeah. Oh, there's LGBT representation in anything, really. Oh, it's woke. Enforced, by the way. It needs justification. It's very bizarre.
Yeah. You would have thought that these people would have sort of advocated for lesbians, but we need more. We need more representation. But
Let's listen to some more John.
Sure.
Policies which you should have written before you even started the website.
There was no intention on my part.
It wasn't
because I don't consider it to be important. I'm opening the door for pedophiles.
About his
I'm a-
sexual.
Oh, that's the.
Ah.
I want to kind of pause on this one because it becomes, it felt out of pocket years ago, but now it gives me pause genuinely when he says, "Are you saying that I'm opening the doors to pedophiles?" I'm like, okay, where did that come from?
Yeah,
But
nobody had mentioned it up to that point.
Yeah, but
Which is
now it feels
sus.
weird considering that the connection of Krauss to Epstein, you know? It's just
And it's
because if
possible.
if I'm going to be putting my conspiratorial hat on, okay? What year was this when this whole interview happened with Nervadia?
Yeah, 2020, I want to say.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
did John know about Krauss's acquaintanceship with Epstein? Is my question number one.
It's a reasonable question, to which I'm going to say I'm going to rub my hand up your leg. No, I'm not. But it's such a reasonable question.
Because if he did, then the whole thing, this whole line of "Are you telling me that I'm opening the doors to pedophiles?" actually makes perfect sense, you know?
Right, and that is worth. I think Titan, or Titan, as you put it, has
Titan.
been
Titan
searching through
is-
files, and I know some people have been, but it's worth just searching for John's name.
Yeah, Titan
somewhere.
is like the Polish word for Titan. Titan. How you say it in Polish.
Yeah, I don't know his private email, but I do. I mean, he was using a conference email at the time, so I don't know. Searching for that email probably doesn't make sense, but you could probably try and find the name John Richards in the files. I doubt it.
Yeah,
But
I don't even mean if he's in the files. I'm wondering if John knew that Lawrence Krauss knew Epstein.
Yeah.
If he was aware of it, you know, that alone would tell me a lot.
it's possible if he's organizing/financing events.
Yeah.
Right. It's not the biggest jump in cognition. Maybe there's a 10% chance, but
Because otherwise it just feels so out of nowhere. The are you telling me that I'm trying to get pedophiles in, you know?
But he commonly jumps in cognition like that to the point where there's missing parts of the conversation.
It's very, very strange.
Conduct. I'm talking about his attitude towards feminism and women.
I am a law-abiding person. What? This is ridiculous. You are making ludicrous accusations.
Well, that kind of sounds like to me the adage, if you're not caught, it's not illegal.
Listen.
If you're not caught, it's not illegal.
Listen. You are the one who is breaking the law. As a law-abiding citizen.
This whole law thing is just very stupid to me.
Yeah, and I can't remember who just said it, but Kentucky atheist ethics are not always law, and that's the point, right? That ethics comes first, and then laws are made, and he's saying, oh well, technically it's not illegal, so you can't take me to court or something like that, and it's
but that's not what codes of conduct are about.
Exactly. It's your event. Do you want, say, for example, it's not, I don't know, it's not illegal to shout.
Yeah.
Right? Do you want people at your event just going around shouting in people's faces? That's not illegal.
Yeah.
You know? It's unpleasant, and if you keep doing it, we're going to kick you out. Yeah, it seems like it's so easy to understand what the argument is, but he just so desperately does not want to admit responsibility, and at this point we are just having fun with not with him, but with the situation, because it's so obvious that they're not going to have this turnaround within 2 or 3 months. This is about 2 or 3 months before the event was meant to happen.
Yeah.
And they're not going to change at this point.
Yeah, it is a very weird way to handle a professional situation.
And I'm a law-abiding citizen. The law says, and I'm a law-abiding citizen.
About his sexual misconduct. I'm talking about women.
I am a law-abiding person. And that is the law, and that is what I follow. And it seems to me that you don't. It seems to me that you want Jim Crow law. You want...
Like, this is very weird, this whole line. Again, like, a code of conduct is not a legal codex. It's a code of conduct. If you behave in a way that is inappropriate according to our code of conduct, you're not invited. Easy.
It's particularly bizarre how somebody from the UK is accusing somebody from Australia of wanting Jim Crow laws.
Yeah.
And it's equally absurd. I mean, it's so obviously a reflection.
I'm not sure why Jim Crow in particular, but
I missed that link as well. I think he's still jumping around, but it's the fact that he's now accusing Navadia of breaking the law.
Yeah, it's very strange.
That's so bizarre. She's just asking questions. She's just
Yeah.
This is an interview. This isn't. What's she done? But it is the exact same level of deflection that we're seeing from Trump, from any of these people, from Boris Johnson in the UK, for any of these people.
Yeah.
And it seems like this sort of behaviour is, to an extent, normalised and accepted because of people like them, John and Lance, being creating an environment whereby they're not going to be held accountable.
Yeah, that is true. It's about power, basically. It's about power that allows you to do more than people in different circumstances would be able to get away with.
Mob rule. And that is utter rubbish. Illegal.
Mob rule.
That's
It's just interesting that he cries about mob rule now, but earlier he said complain to the public because they decided that this or that will be nominated. While we're at it, while we're on the subject of mob rule.
Yeah, I didn't get that before, to be fair. It happens so fast. There's so much to think about. You never
it's just there is a lot here. That's why I thought John was worse than Lance. You know, because with Lance it's just, oh yeah, he's a creep, but with this guy there's a lot more of devious stuff happening, you know, if that makes sense. Like Lance felt incompetent in a very, I'm not even sure how to put it, genuine way, if that makes sense, you know.
Yeah, he was authentically terrible.
Yeah.
Whereas...
And John feels like more like a scheming character, if that makes sense.
Yes, I think yes. So that is a fair distinction, albeit that you say John's worse. I wouldn't know. I just see bad as bad.
Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. They're different brands. I feel like people. Like I feel like Lance is I'm doing armchair psychology. It feels like Lance was more of a follower type, and John is more like a wannabe leader type.
Yes, I think they both, particularly John, want to be up close and personal with their heroes, but that is the very thing that is preventing them from calling out bad behavior.
And they also want to be people of high status, of high power.
Yes, it is a status thing. He wants to rub shoulders with, what was it, in the 2024 event, it was Stephen Fry, it was Krauss, it was Doug Murray, it was Dawkins.
And this is also where Lance comes back into play, because he said at some time when his interview with you, we haven't touched upon that really, when Lance started giving you life advice, telling you that between 0 and 30 you want to be a millionaire, but then you don't get it, and then you want to build some legacy, some wealth, you don't get it, and then you do this or that. And to me, it just felt very bizarre, because well, there's more to life than just wanting wealth and to be a millionaire.
Right. It's another form of projection. I can see why that's like an idea that's in circulation. How about have a stable, happy life and don't have enemies?
Yeah, or just try to, like, how about you set your goals in life, not to just, how do I become a millionaire and be super cool? Or maybe set your goals more along the lines of, how do I make the world around me a better place? How do I contribute positively to, I was born to this world, and there are things that I can do to leave a positive impact for myself and others,
Yeah, because it also, I mean, I'm the
Yeah.
first person to say that technically we help others because of it's good for us, right? Because it might be that somebody gives to charity because we want to think of ourselves as a good person, and therefore I've got a little bit of excess money, therefore I'm going to give it to somebody else who I think is in need because I am a good person. And that you're giving yourself a particular status whereby you're saying, it might be that, say, the standard donation is a £5 and you gave 20 because I'm better than these people.
Yeah.
Right. There are those motivations there for people, and I'm not immune to it. But when you look at people like Lance and John, they are not just acting selfishly, but they're open and they're sort of being overt about this, and they're saying, "Look, but they'd be talking to it was Nacho actually that got the comment saying we're doing this for profit, or we want certain statuses because we want to be associated with these people." And their motivations were all completely wrong. And you see how, if anybody who studies business or economics or whatever, there's reasons why. There's problems with Tim Cook at the minute, but there's reasons why Apple, for example, have endured rather than like what's that, like not BMI? I've forgotten their name now, but certain competitors don't, because they don't have a key core philosophy that they're following. And it was to the point where I believe it was when Steve Jobs went to visit a company I can't remember the name of, and they were developing the technology for like they had a mouse. They were the first people to invent the mouse, the computer mouse.
The one that still had the little rubber ball in it.
Yeah, I think it would have been one of those early designs. And Steve Jobs saw this and was like, "This is going to make our products so much more accessible to the masses."
Right.
And the finance people were like, we can't afford this. And so allegedly Steve Jobs comes forward with this brilliant quote of saying, it's better for us to implode our own company rather than somebody else doing it. And he knew it was a risk, but it was on brand, it was on philosophy, because this product is going to make it easier for the masses to have, personal computing in their home. And it turned out to be the right decision. And now, maybe not, we're not all doing it now, because we've now got touchpads and touch screen and all the rest of it, all these other technologies that have come on.
Mouse is still the standard, right?
Yeah, it's still used, and it's fantastic. It works, and they just don't seem to have like this core string philosophy where we came forward with what was affectionately referred to as Dave Con, where our philosophy was highlight injustice, make it affordable, make it accessible.
Yeah.
Do this rival event in a completely different city, and make sure that Aaron Ra's plane ticket could be salvaged in some useful way, and make an event of it which is in the right spirit of what we're actually trying to achieve. There was going to be 3 hours, 3 events. One was a really fun debate between Aaron Ra and Lloyd Evans, and they were going to argue in favor of their former religion, and they were going to have there was I can't remember what Aaron's was. It was just some sort of spiritual.
Did the event end up happening, by the way?
No, because both events were stopped because of the pandemic.
Right. So they never ended up happening.
No, and which is what makes him then trying to sue me so much more bizarre, because he asked for certain key demands, as you might have seen on that email I sent across, and he says things like you have to backtrack on certain claims that I've made about his event, and I've lied about his event, and I have to come forward publicly and apologize, and I have to apologize to all these speakers that I've lied to. And it's like,
when did you lie about his event?
It's in your own words. It's John on screen right now being a tit.
It's so strange. But also, I would argue that even if people have their own selfish reasons for doing things, even if people help to feel better about themselves, I would argue that the big thing is the result of your actions. If the results are positive, if it creates an overall better world, so to speak, then does it even matter if the person's motivations were completely perfect, if that makes sense? Like if you claim
justify the means.
Yeah, if you claim that your motivations are perfect, but you end up in the Epstein files, then it's just. And if your motivations are not perfect, but the end result is very good, then I would argue for the result, personally.
Yeah, it is context dependent.
Yeah, it's very much is, I think.
Yeah.
Like when you do what you do with the children, with the education, even if I say, oh, you're just doing this for your own self satisfaction, okay, but you're doing it at the end of the day,
Yeah.
Would that make
right.
sense?
And their motivations are purely selfish. There is like coincidental benefit if you come to their event.
Yeah,
and
but
you pay us a ridiculous sum of money to go meet them in a hotel room. I still can't quite get over that, because the prices did fluctuate over time, and they were trying to argue, oh, but there's an early bird price, and it's like, yeah, but that was sold out. Like we're now talking about today, and albeit February 2020, and it's a mess. But it's well worth calling this stuff out, because people would be deterred. I mean, that was the whole point of him threatening to sue me anyway. It turns out that it was his mate from down the pub that was his lawyer.
The lawyer. Yes, I do.
It took like minutes to search both their names together, and they're skeptics down the pub in Worthing, and they were debating with one another on, like, they're both on one side against some other argument, and it's like you can't represent your mate in law. Like, I'm pretty sure that's not allowed.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yes.
Illegal. That's illegal. You're asking me to be a criminal. Utter rubbish. It's not illegal opening the door to paedophiles. Fortunately,
but this bit is definitely edited.
Yeah.
This is towards the end of the video. I think Nacho was having some fun with the editing, so that it is now misrepresentation of what John said. But those words, if they were in the right order, were his words. And yeah, so he did bang on about the law quite a lot. Again, very bizarre. But after this fallout, another couple of speakers went. I think Richard Law and Alex O'Connor, who saw this behaviour, and I don't know whether he saw the writing on the wall, but he was a much smaller creator. He was more like 200,000 subs at the time, and he's now it's like 2 million.
Whoa!
So, yeah, he's like blown up, and has interviewed Dawkins a couple of times in his home, and had various. He's got his own podcast now as well, and he's had very prominent guests, not Kraus, as far as I'm aware. But,
can you repeat the name?
Yeah, I'm going to quickly. Alex O'Connor.
Okay, sounds familiar.
He was Cosmic Skeptic.
Yes. All right. Let's.
Yeah, sure. So there's people like Sean Carroll. He's interviewed. He does go into the science and philosophy side of things, but I mean, he was great to talk to, but it did seem like his motivations were to turn up and talk about it.
Right.
That was his initial sort of perspective. But I think once there was a few of his supporters saying they were struggling to get refunds or something along those lines, then he did try and help them out, either financially or just trying to push for some form of refund.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done well for himself. That's
Yeah.
about 1.9 million. So that's
Oh,
I mean,
I got 1,490 on my main quote unquote channel. I've divided my channels into 3 now, but that's neither here nor there. Okay, let's listen to some more John and let's discuss the.
Yeah, I don't know about the latter half of this video. We'll see.
The law doesn't deal with metaphor because that's the law.
Condescending.
Okay. But
Yeah.
people with credible sexual assault allegations is allowed to come in.
Opening the door to paedophiles. I do not want members of my audience to feel threatened. I don't want people to feel at risk of being molested. Opening the door to paedophiles.
Which I was.
It's very weird.
Not a misogynist. Of course, I had it in mind to introduce a anti-harassment policy. I'm opening the door to paedophiles. Good. I'm glad you're not perfect. Utter rubbish.
It's very weird because I'm not a misogynist, little lady.
Yeah, he doesn't seem to, let's say, have the emotional maturity to have the conversation, let alone organize the event.
It's the clips were out of a little bit out of order, but there were a few things here. I'm gonna rewind because there was a thing here that he said.
The harassment policy. I'm opening
The whole policy thing. I wanted to implement it, but it took time. The whole thing. He pretended not to understand the question about whether or not he wrote the policy beforehand, or did he just scramble to write it after he was called out via Lance, right? That was the big question. Did you just scramble to put this together after the whole Lance debacle, or did you actually have a policy written down and figured out beforehand, right? And it feels pretty obvious that he did not. It feels pretty obvious that the whole it takes time to add things to the page, to create things for the page, were just a very sad way to not admit that no, they did not have such policy before the Lance horrible performance in the interview.
Yeah, and it did shape what I was going to do with Dave Con, because I went to put it at one venue, which was quite nice because I could have streamed live and had perfect audio. It was beautiful, and they for the pandemic it didn't work, so I thought, okay, maybe we'll go to the Comedy Store in London, and we'd have like a low ceiling. It would be like the atmosphere would be so much better, and that whole thing about having security, because I sort of consciously had at least 2 confirmed, invited a third ex-Muslim there, and they always they're hot on their security because they've had attempts on their life or whatever,
right?
And so those particular individuals definitely needed it, and I was far more hot on that, but the bar was so low. We just wanted an event that was better than theirs.
But this also feels like a moment that could be salvaged, honestly, when she asked him, "Oh, did you just create this whole policy of anti-harassment after the Dave thing?" It would be better for him to say, "Listen, full disclosure, I did not feel like codifying this whole." The electricity just came back.
Hey.
Full disclosure, I did not think that codifying the thing would be necessary. I felt like it would work itself out. I was naive of me. I felt like
Right.
we would deal with things as they would come along, with harassment or whatever. We would not, of course, we would not tolerate it. I just did not think that it would need codifying, right?
Right.
And in the aftermath of the interview with Lance, it became very clear to us that we do have to codify it, that we do have to formalize it, right? Doesn't it sound at least a little bit better than what's happening here?
Well, it goes back to what they're fundamentally like as people. It's not just the way they act; it's their ability to change, right?
Right.
If I were to organise an event, it was not my very first thought to have those policies and all that sort of legal technical jargon in that little button at the bottom of the page of the website. It just wouldn't have been my first thought.
Right.
My first thought would have been, well, let's have this amazing event with all
Yeah.
these stars, and that's he hasn't got past that first sort of barrier, as it were.
Yeah.
Which is,
Sad.
I mean, he's significantly older
Yeah.
as well. We have to understand that, which is arguably should know better, as should Lance.
Well, it's just it doesn't follow. People don't get automatically wiser with the passage of time. People sometimes forget that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Sometimes people get worse as time goes on.
Yeah, well, people go through experiences and they lose trust in people, lose faith in people, and I've to an extent been there when it comes to John and Lance and other people.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think they won't admit it, but they were affected by this.
Oh yeah. Definitely
For sure.
they were affected by this. Let's continue.
The door for paedophiles? Good. I'm glad you're not perfect. Utter rubbish.
The context to the whole I'm glad you're not perfect is that at some point she just plainly told him, yeah, I think you're a pretty disorganized guy.
Yeah, I think she worded it not in a self-deprecating way, but just
Yeah, but she said, it's okay, I'm not that organized. Yeah, I'm not that organized either. And he said, yeah, I'm glad you're not perfect.
It's just so bitchy. Like,
yeah, it's very strange. Very strange.
You in these sorts of interactions, not like a high profile sort of conference that you're trying to promote sort of way, but people are typically self-deprecating, a more human side, and that to an extent was the whole point of the podcast at the beginning, was because like I don't want people to come on and say I'm so amazing, look at me, I'm an atheist or something. It was like, no, actually, I really struggling with sort of coming to terms with my sort of, family shunning me, but I found a new community that loves baseball or whatever,
right,
or just making cakes on a Sunday, and so we then get their perspective on religious bakeries that refuse to make certain cakes. What do you think about that?
like for gay people.
Just flows. It just flows because people, if you give people the opportunity to express their opinion, they will express it.
Yeah.
But in Navadia's just being so calm and
patient,
Socratic.
Yeah,
and she's being so charitable to the point where John thinks. I think John thinks he's having a different conversation to the one he's actually having. I think he's, again, it goes back to what you said about Lance thinking he's in a debate.
Yeah,
when he's being confrontational for absolutely no reason whatsoever.
Yeah, because he feels like he's being called out, and I feel like
because he is.
Yeah,
because he's been given so many chances.
Yeah, it's a lot of it feels like it should have been so simple to just explain.
Yeah,
it should have been simple, but sometimes simple becomes impossible.
You don't seem to be listening. I've explained to you. Listen, will you let me speak? This is not an interview. This is you imposing your views on the public. Listen.
I don't even know what to make of that comment, but okay, let's continue for now.
Do you not listen?
If somebody has...
let me finish. Listen, let me speak. I've explained to you. Utter rubbish.
Okay,
Listen
this is
to me again. Interrupt.
I'm sorry.
Let me finish making my statement.
You've already made that statement, John.
Listen, he's not receiving an award.
Well, why is
Okay, this is a part that I feel like needs explaining. He's not receiving an award. Okay, he's not receiving a reward right now, but he is nominated for it, and there's a possibility that he will receive the reward. So what's the implication here? That should he win the reward, it will be taken away from him then?
Yeah, he's not really thinking. He comes across as if he is interpreting certain phrases literally, and he's searching for that off ramp.
Yeah,
If you just use the tiniest, it doesn't matter how reasonable your argument is. If you end the sentence with "God, you're so stupid," right? He'll focus on that rather than all the love.
Because it doesn't matter if the person's receiving the reward right now. They are being put on track to possibly receive it, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So if that's the case, then again, what is he saying? We've nominated him, but if we wins, he won't get it.
And there was the juxtaposition as well between somebody, I think it might be Lance, might have been somebody else actually, because Navadia might have brought somebody else up, but they were nominated for an award. And I think the point that she's making, which is apparently sound argument, is my nominations for the award that I don't care about taken away because I'm so abhorrent. Me, Dave Worley, I'm the big problem that needs sorting out. But this other guy, he's threatened with sexual assault and all the rest. He's fine. He's fine. He can be on the nomination.
Yeah, he wasn't arrested.
It got to the point where there are certain people as well that specifically requested that they were taken off of the nominations.
Yeah,
I think Nick might have been one of them. I think I don't know if Matt Dillahunty was, but yeah.
As in Nick from In Time.
Yeah.
Oh, he was also a nomination on that event.
He was nominated for, I think there were about 10 awards. There was Podcaster of the Year or something like that, and so he got nominated for that. There was Author of the Year, Atheist of the Year. Might have been like things like Atheist Song of the Year. A lot of these categories only had one thing, like one person in the ballot. There wasn't like a flurry of 8 people that you could choose from, and there was 100 people voting. It was just, David Silverman's book from 10 years earlier, and that's like one of 2 books that have been put forward in the past year because there aren't enough books that have been released. And it's
it was very the whole thing that was very strange about the Atheist of the Year, even though the person has not done anything that year but has done stuff many years prior. It's a very strange event.
It seemed like they obviously they didn't think it through.
Also, what does that even mean, Atheist of the Year? I was the best non-believer of this year.
Right. I think there must be some form of activism that they're thinking of. If Salman Rushdie gets like rushed on the stage and has his eye patch, that would qualify for, he's Atheist of the Year. I could understand that.
Right.
In terms of he's carried on, he's persevered through despite this, but it's not that. They are just purely driven by money and status.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
He nominated.
You're hearing.
What is
He's not receiving an award. Listen, it's not difficult. Let me explain.
No, it's not.
Listen, I will explain it to you.
Again, he is actually promoting an event here. He's putting his best foot forward with this screaming, shouting, and all the unhinged behavior. This is his way of promoting a thing.
Yeah, and again, plaudits to Navadia because she is very calmly responding, saying, "This person's been nominated." Like she is agreeing and being so nice and genuine, and is
Professional would be the word, that comes to mind.
Yeah, and precise in her language in terms of trying to just spell it out and just simply stating a truth. Somebody has been nominated, and then John's saying he's not receiving an award. That's not what she just said.
Yeah.
She said the word nominated, right?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter, because if someone's nominated, then it means that the assumption is that they might receive the award.
Right. And there's a small shortlist as well, so there's that higher likelihood that they will receive it.
Yeah.
More time, because it's obviously not reaching through to your brain. It's not difficult. Utter rubbish. How many times do you need me to explain? Utter rubbish. Listen.
If you are an organizer of any event, the public face is only a tiny, tiny part of the organization.
Listen.
You told me you've spent over a year organizing this thing, and you're only doing it for one weekend.
Do I get to speak? Do I get to speak?
You do get to speak, yes.
Listen. Utter rubbish.
I understand that. But the real question I'm asking is, why did we as a community have to strong arm you into a policy?
So what ludicrous allegations are you trying to make? Opening the door to paedophiles? What's that got to do with it? I've explained to you. Listen.
I will say that the best, in my mind, response to what kind of ridiculous accusations are you making here would be, I'm not making any accusations. I'm just asking for clarification, and you're refusing to give it.
Well, that's the thing. He is much like Lance. It was desperate. He didn't know what to say. He didn't know where to go. There is no place to go. We've cornered him. He's like a I don't know, like a hamster, and you just put the cage around them.
Maybe it would have been easier if he was in direct contact with Mr. Epstein, that would tell him what to say and do. Like Mr. Krauss was.
Yeah, we hopefully dodged a bullet. But Navadi is right. He was straight armed into.
He was, this. And he would not admit it, which would have been better for him if he just did.
He's also in succumbing to that, quite rightly. He is demonstrating the ability that he can be straight armed and must be straight armed, because otherwise he won't do it otherwise. So he has to be held accountable. We have to do the legwork, otherwise he won't, which is concerning when it comes to events that I've missed. And I haven't sort of kept track of the 2024 event with Dawkins and Fry and Krauss and Murray.
There's a 2024 event with those people?
No, with lesser known people and Stephen Woodford, which is bizarre because he's Rationality Rules and he was due to be at DaveCon.
Right.
Like, he knows about all of this. He knows about John.
Right.
Or has forgotten somehow.
Or maybe things he has changed, who knows?
Possibly. I mean, even so much as when I was talking to Steve Woodford about getting onto DaveCon, he was asking questions like, why is there an all-female panel? Because I don't want to be part of like an event if there is this deliberate, intentional like tick boxing going on, which I can sort of understand.
Again, the wokeness accusation, I see.
Yeah, so it seems, I mean, it was so blatantly obvious that we were doing the event, going to do the event, because of this sort of whole harassment thing.
Yeah.
And the headline at my event was, after those two debated their former religions, and the middle section was Alex O'Connor and Rationality Rules, Steve Woodford, having a sort of open discussion with one another. And then the finale, the headline was for female YouTubers discussing
it does touch upon a pretty important thing, in my opinion. Like the whole wokeness thing, the whole why a whole female panel, I don't want tick box. Okay, if there was a panel that was made 100% of only guys, would anyone question that? Would anyone be like, hey, why are there only guys here? What is this tick boxing? No,
I don't think he would have.
No, nobody would. No, because it's considered the norm. And because a panel with only women is considered out of the norm, suddenly it's considered to be artificial. It's considered to be, you know, box sticking or whatever else. It's considered to be woke, you know? Like the simple answer would be just, because we've just decided to make a panel that just happens to have only women. What about it?
Yeah, because ultimately, if the whole purpose, the whole philosophy is to call out this stuff, it's best to have an all-woman panel because they're the ones going through it, right? I've not received I haven't received sexual harassment.
I mean,
from
men do, but
this,
it's perfectly fine to, like, if we're discussing women being harassed, then we will center women into the discussion, right?
And that seems perfectly. It would have been completely bizarre if we'd have had, say, an all-male panel talking about female experience on. It's just like, well, the definition. If you're going to have a panel on, let's say, the trans experience, you know, let's just have a bunch of people like me.
Cis people.
Like, I don't know.
And there's it's that definitely a thing that's worth noting. Like I've experienced something like that when I was working for a corporation. I'm a bit of an artist, so I draw things, and I drew a person for a story that I was developing, and the person was dark skinned. My protagonist had dark skin, and I've experienced coworkers coming by and saying, "Oh, this is really nice. This drawing is really nice, but why does this character have to have such dark skin?"
Really?
Yeah.
I thought we'd been beyond this by now.
No, no, we're not. My answer was because that's how I want the character to be. Why? You know.
And as I said at the start, I'm through. I've got as far as the manuscript. So first 3 chapters are first draft, a pretty good first draft in my opinion for this children's novel I'm writing, and it's set in a subtropical archipelago,
right?
Which means, at least initially, I haven't mentioned any details about skin color or anything like that, but they're in a hot climate.
Yeah,
they're probably not going to be white.
Yeah,
like that's okay.
Yeah, and like all these
really think about it.
All these discussions, like why this, why that, they usually just boil down to this is the thing I feel is normal, and what you're doing is outside of that normal. How are you going to justify it?
Right.
You know?
And even down to the awkward politics of having like more representation in children's literature. There's a disabled character who, I mean, it's a story that's going to be about a child pirate crew, basically. So children run these islands, and they go off and they get kidnapped by pirates, and then they escape and they find each other, and then they sort of form their own crew. And there's a disabled character who, you know, it's pirates. Like what? It's like having dwarfs in Willy Wonka. It's like instead of Hugh Grant. I don't know why Hugh Grant was picked personally, but it's acting, so I guess anything goes. But it seems like somebody somewhere is going to have an issue with that character eventually. Developing a lesbian relationship with a.
Oh, definitely. Some people will have. It's LGBT. People will have issues with it.
Yeah, and that I'm certainly not somebody to tick box, because it just looking at those two characters, it just works.
Yeah, and also it's just a thing that exists in the world, and you're gonna be talking about things that exist in the world.
Yeah, exactly. It's not like if I at any point write and I feel like, why am I doing this? Like, am I doing this just because I'm trying to appease people? That's a sign that I should just stop now.
Right.
I'm doing it because it's right for the story, and it does make perfect sense as to why those two characters would be so attracted to one another, because
Right.
one is injured, if we can say that word,
Yeah.
and the other is a healer.
Right. Yeah.
Duh, right?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
it just makes so much sense.
Right.
But it's a
But
shame.
it's just it
people like
always
that are there.
boils down to this is the norm, this is normal, and this is abnormal. It's the same with the discussion about whether or not children should be taught about gay people existing, trans people existing, or anything of that sort. The argumentation is always, well, children should not be learning about that such stuff. Well, why not? And the answer, when you strip it from all the sophistry, is this thing is abnormal, and we don't want children learning about abnormality. That's
There definitely seems to be in the States. There's always been the like supremacy bubbling under the surface. I guess you've seen various Louis Theroux documentaries, and I might actually put a few of them on after this because they're just so wild. When he goes off on these weird weekends and he's hanging out with Nazis, and he's gone off with those. He's had a few like that where he's standing outside somebody's garage, and they're asking if he's Jewish.
all right.
And they're like, "Oh, maybe you look Jewish," and then Louis just like, I really don't want to answer the question. He's not, right. He's a non-believer, but it's just those people.
Well, being Jewish goes a bit beyond just practicing Judaism, but that's neither here nor there. There's a cultural, a secular kind of community to it.
Well, Stephen Fry has said that he's got Jewish lineage, and there's people like Miriam Margolyes and David Baddiel who are Jews, but they don't associate with Israel.
Yeah, of course.
There's a complexity.
There's. I could go on a whole rant. Do you know what the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth was?
No.
It was one of the
as
biggest.
Soon as you say Commonwealth, I sit up a bit.
It's like it was one of the biggest countries in Europe between 15th and 18th century. It was a political union between the Kingdom of Poland and the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. It incorporated what are now the nation states of Poland, Lithuania, Ukraine, Belarus, and fragments of a few more.
Okay, yeah, that whole Eastern Bloc, yeah.
And basically it had the biggest Jewish community in the world at its height. It's actually considered the golden age of the Jewish community. And that's the place where basically a lot of things started, like Hasidism started in the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. And the idea that the Jewish community is not just a religious community, but also a secular, a cultural community also kind of was established within the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth. If that makes sense.
Yeah, I'm not aware. But it is stunning. I mean, I don't know what the exact number is. I thought it was like maybe as high as a quarter of Americans that were surveyed didn't think the Holocaust happened.
My goodness.
Like, it's
of course I'm from Warsaw, so I was Polish Jewish streamer, but like I grew up near the ghetto wall, so it's bizarre for me to hear people say, "Oh, the Holocaust, that never happened."
And we'll get it in the future. We'll get people who are defending Trump as a great president in 30 years.
We already have people defending Trump as a great president now.
Yeah.
We have people that hear what ICE is doing and they jump to justify it.
Oh yeah, those domestic terrorists.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's just
innocent civilians they're killing.
Like a nurse that's trying to help a person that's been shoved to the ground.
I think it might have been Dunk from the Shields. I'm sort of loosely associated with the Shields. I'm on now and again. I think Dunk was posting something in the private chat the past 24 hours about there's a claim. I didn't actually read the post, but there was something to do with incinerators being built at detention centers. I don't know the full details about that, but it is touching upon like the Holocaust level of concern.
Right. Yeah.
If that is like, because they're already killing people in the street and justifying it, like it
Yeah.
is not the biggest jump in cognition, and it's terrifying. But
It
I
is.
at least do feel like there's enough of a swing now. I think there's enough Trump regret to have a very clear majority. You see some of the elections that have been happening, huge 30% swings to the Democrats in Republican areas, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned. But it's not, Dems aren't perfect, but I'd take them any day.
Over Trump, right? Yeah.
Yeah, any Republican, even just we look back at George Bush now and we think, oh, what a great no, he wasn't.
No.
He's just better than what we've got.
No. I don't think Bush was a great president now.
No, I can't. I mean, I think part of the problem is that, and again, we said this earlier, Obama wasn't perfect. There's some ice stuff that was going on during his term, I'm sure, but he's so iconic as an American president as to how you act, how you hear out your opponent. You get these shorts on YouTube trying to point out, Trump dealing with a heckler versus Obama dealing with a heckler.
Right.
And
yeah.
it's just night and day.
But of course, if like it's not going to be like, oh, whatever. If like it's like I find it really interesting that people think that it will work. The whole, oh yeah, Trump is doing a bad thing, but have you considered that Obama did a bad thing too? Well, okay. What about it?
And
it's just silly. Well, okay. Let's return to our main star.
Oh yeah.
You're interrupting. You're interrupting me again. Yeah, I've presented No, you're not a skeptic.
Oh yeah, because she said at some point, he was accusing her of making accusations, and she said, I am a skeptic, and he went off to say, you're not a skeptic, you're a conspiracy theorist, is what you are. You're a conspiracy theorist.
You're a
skeptic.
Conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. That's what you are.
I'm a conspiracy theorist. I've done my research. Can you listen to me?
Well, I will listen.
Okay.
You don't make any more.
Why was that? You're interrupting me, John.
Listen.
I am a skeptic. I am doing a degree in science. I have been taught critical thinking skills.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes,
and I'm just asking the questions that myself and the rest of the community also have. So the fact that you just called me a conspiracy theorist kind of gives us all a bit of an idea of the amount of respect that you have towards me.
It feels good to be a gangster, a real gangster.
Well, that's John. That is John. There's a few things that I feel like this video has missed about John, but there's just a lot. There is a lot to unpack when it comes to John and his attitude towards sexual assault, towards allegations, and towards codes of conduct when it comes to these things. And I feel like it became this whole thing happened like now 6 years ago.
Just about. Yeah, I think this is coming close to the 5th anniversary if it's not already.
Like it feels like in the light of the files, in the light of Lawrence Krauss, Richard Dawkins, all these prominent guests to these events being in the Epstein files, all the implication that Richard Dawkins wanted to mount a whole defense of Epstein after he was already convicted of forcing a minor to sell themselves. It's really, it puts a whole new light on the whole situation, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's I don't know enough. It's also we've been talking about this on the shills where people just have fatigue, right? They can't keep up with all the information that's coming out, and I think that is part of the tactic to overwhelm.
Yeah.
Again, I can't remember the exact.
Like, has John put out a statement when it comes to the whole thing?
Sorry, I missed that first bit, Karen.
Like, has John put out a statement when it comes to the revelations that we have learned about recently?
No, not that I'm aware. Albeit it wouldn't be difficult to try and search his blog.
Right? It feels like John should have been able to put out some sort of a statement, right? Let me see. What's his surname?
Richards.
Oh, okay. John Richards Epstein files statement. John Richards, event organizer. I cannot find anything.
No.
So he's being quiet about it, basically.
Yeah, I'm not sure how sort of fanatical in particular. I know Lance just said that Kraus, he's one of Kraus's biggest supporters, but it seems like John is more like commercially driven.
Yeah, but he did try to defend Kraus's actions, etc. So it would be interesting to see his statement, anything from him, especially since he still organizes events, right? What is the new event? You've told me that you've been looking into one of his newest events.
There's one in April. I might have sent a link. I don't know. You can check Atheism UK. I think that is, yeah, it is. This was a Christmas event postponed to the 12th of April, and there's a lot of people I don't recognise. But it's up in Manchester.
So do you know anything about it?
The only prominent guest I can recognise is Stephen Woodford, Rationality Rules. It's and it's meant to be an unbelievable Hitchmas. So Christopher Hitchens inspired. Their events in general were meant to honour the like a particular atheist each year. So they got a painting of Christopher Hitchens drawn or painted, and that was going to be auctioned off at the event. And
yeah, Richard
I think it was eventually
sorry, Hitchens one, the portrait, right?
Well, you got a bit quieter there, sorry,
I put away my the Hitchens portrait, right?
Yeah, so that I think that was eventually something happened with that in 2024. It seemed to be on stage with them when they did the Murray, Dawkins, Krauss and Fry event, but I don't know to the extent to which that was organised or whatever. I just completely missed it. So to be fair, 2024 I was in America, so so
for work,
yeah, for first year of my masters. There's also a load of controversies that were happening there as well, and I've turned all of those
have you had
people
the
into,
opportunity to visit the best state in the U.S.?
California?
Maryland.
Oh no,
As the best state in the United States, Maryland is the biggest amount of historical buildings in the entirety of the U.S.
Okay. No idea.
As an aspiring historian, I find it to be very, very cool. So, what I guess we've been going for about 3 hours. So, what are your thoughts on how this whole debacle connects to now? What are your thoughts in retrospect, in hindsight? What do you think? Sorry?
So it's close to 4 hours.
Is it?
Yeah, thoughts on the event in retrospect. I think it's relatively clean in terms of how it sort of ended because of the pandemic, but the sort of motivations for him are still there. I think he at least claimed that he was losing a lot of money because of the first event. And since then, he sort of seems to have got smaller but carried on. I'm not concerned if somebody wants to pay homage to a particular, one of their heroes or whatever. That's absolutely fine. I hope he understands how to run these events in future. I don't think he comes across as overly competent. I mean, in just reading certain bits from the website now, there's things like treat the atheist in your life to an exciting, extravagant, and it's like nobody talks like that.
Yeah.
What is atheist in your life?
Atheist in
Like-
your life. God damn. Oh, it all feels so
Yeah.
artificial, you know?
Yeah, and you get it. I've seen this a few times from people who are trying to make like some sort of political statement, but they're definitely faking it. And I remember being, just reminds me of when I was doing like not student debates, but I went to a place called Farmer Sixth Form College, and there's like 3,000 people on campus at 17, 18 doing their A levels to try and get into university, and they have elections every year. And one of my friends went up for it to be president or whatever, and he started. He'd already pre-practiced his statement. Where He started by saying, "Well, there's lots of really enthusiastic people here today," and it's like, "What are you doing? You don't talk like that." What
Yeah.
and it's this sort of putting on a bit of an act thing. Like they're not used to being on stage with a microphone. Just be normal. Just be
It's just-
yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't. Hello, fellow atheists. Hello, non-believer in the supernatural. This is actually something that John has been doing throughout this whole thing, deflecting to we are fighting the atheist fight here against the evils, and you dare to do this to us, you know?
Yeah, I think he fundamentally fails to empathize with the other person and see something from somebody else's perspective.
Yeah.
And I think that's really important, because if he did, he would realize, he would have a degree of self-awareness as to how he comes across.
Oh yeah.
And you know, if you don't understand the other person's motivations, you can't sell. He's it goes back to that Wolf of Wall Street again. Who was it? John Belfort, who gives that sort of famous speech. He's not necessarily one to admire, but he has that famous sell me this pen argument, where people start to describe the pen as if it's a really great pen and it will last forever, and it's like, you've got to understand what the other person wants it for. Like, what are you signing a really important business contract, because you're probably not going to use a cheap pen for that, or do you need thousands of pens for your 100 staff at your office? They're completely different types of pen. And so he fundamentally hasn't looked into or hung around with atheists. Like, what are they like? Well, how do they act? What are they motivated by? And it seems like there's a degree of angst. Yeah, sure. We I think most apostates have been there, but they are ultimately just trying to get on with their lives, and they don't. Most people don't. Particularly for a country that in the UK, which is about 50% non-believing, right? Just doesn't factor into our lives. We might get a few conversations about unelected bishops in the House of Lords, or because they do pass bills, and that they do get a say. And there's similar concepts for people who have hereditary titles that are only lords because their father was, and their father's father was, and the argument to get rid of that is quite strong. But other than that, people don't really.
My title is
engage.
that of the atheist.
Yeah, people again probably just don't need the title. Just half of people are, and it's like any other title. Like we said, a leprechaunist. You don't need to use that word. Right?
Very yeah, very strange. But it is that unfortunately. And I will return to the question: how do you feel it connects to now, if at all? Do you feel like it connects to anything in the now? The events from the past?
Well, this Epstein development is curious. It certainly clarifies to me the people that are surrounding those offenders will enable. And you might not be able to go after the actor, but you can go after the people that are propping them up. And if you take out those foundations, there's at least an argument that says the whole structure will fall. And so if there's any message to be sort of taken from this, you might not be able to go after somebody like Trump, but you can vote in certain elections to get rid of people who are just yes men, and they just pass off on anything that these people say or do. You can invest financially in independent journalism. You can go after I admire people like have you come across, if I'm going to butcher her name, Carol Cadwalader?
Can you write it in the chat?
Yeah, that is someone who, I think that's Nia on the end of her name. She has been calling out basically sort of tech data rights and how certain tech companies have harvested people's data. So a company like Cambridge Analytica stole people's data in order to find out what got them riled up, and then tailored adverts to their Facebook or whatever it may be to get them to vote this way, not that way. And that led to enough of a swing for Brexit. And that also led 6 months later to the first election of Trump.
Right.
And they're no longer a company that haven't been for a while, but she's one of the ones that was calling this out as a journalist, and she's done a great job before it. She then was embroiled in being sued, I think, by Aaron Banks, who was somebody who I've forgotten, but he was a huge Brexit financier and a good friend of Nigel Farage. Well, it's now Reform Party. I think Aaron Banks came in when they were UKIP. So just explaining some UK politics. He went from UKIP to
the
Brexit
Sargon of
Party
Akkad
to
party.
what is now, So Sargon of Akkad was it probably is still UKIP. They've fractured off. It used to just be the BNP, the British National Party, and then Nick Griffin ended up going on Question Time and got absolutely berated, and then his whole party fell apart. But now there's all sorts. There's Advance UK. There's several, and so Carol's doing great work trying to call out these tech giants harvesting data, and she's making an argument that says we need our data rights. We need ownership over our information, our data, and we don't have it. So she's fun.
All right. Do you feel like there is anything else that we should touch upon when it comes to these topics?
No, I think just making sure anybody thinking that they're sort of powerless know that you do have a great significant deal of power, and it starts at local elections. It starts at talking to one person, right? And you certainly get it. When I go to the spa, I go to a spa for my back, but it's also a social thing, and it's they will definitely express their opinions when it comes to sort of politics or the way things are, and it is sometimes good to just go to a place where even if you disagree, you can still be in the real world. It's also why I got a cinema subscription before Christmas, because it's just, I know it's escaping into a sort of another world for a couple of hours in a darkened room, but you get to turn your phone off, you get to forget, and you do, about various things that are happening in the world, and you get to, whatever that may be, coffee shops, libraries, whatever is your go-to.
My go-to is reading books about genocide.
Well, everyone's gonna have
my escapism from the horrors of the world is reading the history of the most horrible genocides in history.
I don't think I know you well enough to make that joke I was about to make, but just know that it was very, very funny.
Well, we'll keep that in mind for the future. All right, I think.
But
yeah.
Thank you though. We have sort of run over. I know I initially said an hour. I knew that this would run over because it's just such a heavy topic.
Yeah, it's a lot. There's a lot to talk about here. And it's basically still ongoing, considering that John is considered continuing his work.
Yes, albeit I'm not initially concerned, but it would be nice to know whether he's got various sort of opinions or insider knowledge when it comes to Kraus and the files.
Yeah, it
I'm sure
would
we'll
be
ever find
interesting to know.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
Feel free to,
Yeah.
because he knows me. I can't contact him, but feel free to get in touch with him and say,
With
look,
John.
yeah, and just say, like, I'm thinking about going to your event. What's your policy?
Oh,
Just
I'm
trying
not
to
sure if I think I'm too
get him,
small for
you know.
John to be willing to talk to me.
Oh, in terms of interview, no, but in terms of investigative journalism, you'll
Yeah.
find what his policy is, and you can find.
That could be
You can't really
interesting.
find very much on the website about it. So
Hmm.
yeah, curious.
Yeah, that is true.
It's just gone midnight. My end. What's it must be for you? 2
One.
o'clock?
1.
1.
Well, 2. It's actually 2. Sorry, the clock on my computer is Polish time, so yeah, it is 2 a.m. now. Actually.
See, I remember that from doing the Ukraine update for Shills.
Yeah. Oh, you did Ukraine update?
Yeah, something like the first 2 years, first 100 episodes or whatever.
Interesting.
I took questions from the live chat and super chats and that sort of thing, and that was fun because we got to know Starsky pretty well, and it was always great to humanize him because there were nice little segments where we could just let him. Did you ever watch Baby Starsky or any of those sorts of skits that we did? Because we'd get it up on the screen and it was like Starsky as a baby, like
I've sadly have not.
going and garring, and he would tell a story from his childhood in Ukraine, and
Right.
it's amazing because he would come up with the best story, and it would just be like thrown at him. He had no idea what was going on, but he did come up with these incredible stories about growing up, and it just showed that human side of the people on the receiving end of this war.
Right, yeah, that's true. I try to show the human side as well in my interviews. Alrighty.
Yeah, good.
Well, thank
Yes.
you. Thank you very much.
Thank
for
you.
agreeing to this conversation.
Anytime. Yeah, I'm probably. I've got nothing. Yeah. Normally at this point, everyone will ask, "Hey, have you got anything to promote?" No.
I mean, there is something that you'd like to kind of promote, I guess. Your book, your work with the children.
Well, there's no the book's far off at the minute. It's not nowhere near ready, but hey, it's making progress. I think by this time next year we'll have a decent draft. It'll be about 70% of the way there, for sure.
Perfect.
But not yet.
I guess we'll catch back when that happens.
Sure, I'm gonna get a drink and something to eat.
All right, well then. Thank you again for agreeing to the conversation, and I guess I'll see you.
Yeah. Take care.
Okay. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.